Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Hi everyone, kamusta? I'm Erica, and welcome to Filipino Top Words. So for today's lesson, we are going to talk about top 25 verbs that you will need when you go to the Philippines. So let's go ahead and get started. Maging, to become. Maging, to become. Maging can mean to be or to become. Mahirap maging hindi tapat sa sarili. It's hard not to be honest with yourself. Gustuhin, to like. So next word is gustuhin, to like. Nagustuhan niya ang pinadala mo. She liked what you sent. Gawin, to do. Next word is gawin, which means to do. It's easier said than done. In Filipino, we say, mas madaling sabihin kaysa gawin. And your mom will always use this because your mom always has many things that she wants you to do. Sabihin, to say. So our next verb is sabihin. In English, it can mean either to say or to tell. So for example, we want to say in English, don't tell our secret to anyone. In Filipino, you would say, huwag mong sabihin ang sikreto natin kahit kanino. Ipaliwanag, to explain. Ipaliwanag, to explain. Dapat ipaliwanag ng guro ng mabuti ang paksa. The teacher should explain the matter thoroughly. So for example, you're resting, looking at your phone, and then here comes your mom and tells you, magpaliwanag ka. Explain. This is very useful when you have to talk to your mom. Marinig, to hear. Marinig, to hear. Hindi kita marinig. I can't hear you. Again, you can use this when you're talking to your mom. Probably you can tell her, I didn't do this because I didn't hear you tell me do this. That's a very unsatisfactory answer for your mom all the time. Pumunta, to go. Pumunta, to go. So we can say, gusto kong pumunta sa Palawan. I want to go to Palawan. Tara na, biyahe tayo. Alamin, to know. Alamin, to know. Gusto kong alamin kung mas mahirap bang matutunan ang Japanese o Chinese. I want to know if it's harder to learn Japanese or Chinese. Compared to Japanese or Chinese, Filipino is easier, right? So, please take the time to study Filipino. You will take less time than studying Japanese than if you go and study Japanese or Chinese. So, you know what to learn. Kunin, to take. Kunin, to take. For example, we want to say in English, please take the bill so that we can leave already. In Filipino, what you will say is, kunin mo na ang bill natin para makaalis na tayo. So when you go to the Philippines and you eat at a restaurant and you want to ask for the check, just do this hand sign. Makita, to see. Makita, to see. Huwag kang mainis pag nakita mo. Don't get annoyed when you see it. So, what are the things that you get annoyed when you see? Dumating, to arrive. Dumating, to arrive. Dumating na ang pinakahihintay mong balita. Your long-awaited news has finally arrived. Isipin, to think. Isipin, to think. Isipin nating mabuti bago magdesisyon. Let's think of it thoroughly before making a decision. Actually, this is very important because every day of your life you have to think. Tumingin, to look. Tumingin, to look. Huwag kang tumingin sa malayo pag may kausap ka. Don't look far away when you're talking with someone. Because obviously you're talking with someone, right? How would it feel like if you're talking to this person face to face and you're looking at the side like this? Naisin, to want. Naisin, to want. I want to become an engineer rather than be a doctor. Mas nais kong maging inhinyero kaysa maging doktor. Magbigay, to give. Magbigay, to give. For example, someone asks you, oh, who can give me advice on something? And then you say, Alex gives excellent advice on whatever that is. In Filipino, how you would say it, magaling magbigay ng payo si Alex. Gamitin, to use. Gamitin, to use. So for example, I don't know where you can use actually you can use gamitin a lot. For example, let's use it in a proper sentence. Hindi natin pwedeng gamitin ang may nakasulat na bawal gamitin. So, in English, we can say, we can't use the ones which are marked don't use. I have a pretty straightforward, don't use it. Hanapin, to find. Hanapin, to find. You're asking your mom, where is this thing that I'm looking for? So she says, Pina, find it in the second drawer. In Filipino, it means, hanapin mo sa ikalawang drawer. Usually, your mom will call you Pina, according to her, if you don't use your eyes to look for things. It's very useful. So, just remember that if you are going to look for something, don't ask your mom. Because you don't know what kind of fate will befall you. You might be a pineapple at the end. Lumabas, to go out. Lumabas, or to go out. So, you want to ask permission from your parents before you go out. How do we say it in Filipino? Magpaalam ka muna sa iyong mga magulang bago ka lumabas. Ask permission from your parents before you go out. Someday, kids, you will be parents too. Magtanong, to ask. Magtanong, to ask. So, for example, you have a new office mate and you want to tell your office mate, huwag kang mahiyang magtanong kapag hindi mo alam ang sagot. In English, what you just said means, don't hesitate to ask if you don't know the answer. Magtrabaho, to work. The next verb is magtrabaho, or to work. So, for example, you want to say, as much as possible, I don't want to work overtime. In Filipino, you can tell your boss, ayaw kong magtrabaho ng overtime hanggat maaari. Mag, it's the way you conjugate verbs, but it's in Filipino. And then trabaho comes from the Spanish word trabajo. Pumasok, to enter. Pumasok, to enter. For example, you went to a club and you have a friend who looks 18, actually, who looks younger than 18, like a high school student. So you can tell this friend, you are not allowed to enter the club if you're under 18 years old. Or in Filipino, bawal pumasok sa club ang mas bata sa labingwalong taong gulang. Maramdaman, to feel. So next verb is maramdaman, or to feel. For example, you really are irritated with a person and you don't want the person to feel that you're irritated with him or her. So if you want to say in English, I don't want her to feel that I'm frustrated, then you would say in Filipino, ayaw kong maramdaman niya ang inis ko sa kanya. But I think you have to approach her and tell her that you are frustrated. So go ahead and tell her. Subukan, to try. Subukan. This again, some like really inspiring example sentences that we have here. You want to say to your friend, because you want to be really encouraging, why don't you try it before you say that you can't? And assuming that this friend cannot understand English, then you would have to learn the Filipino. You would say, bakit di mo subukan bago mo sabihin na hindi mo kaya? Mag-iwan, to leave. Mag-iwan. It actually means to leave something. You want to say in Filipino, mag-iwan ka ng 500 pesos or ng 500 piso para pambili ng pagkain. In English, please leave 500 pesos to buy food. Tumakbo, to run. Last verb for this lesson is tumakbo, or to run. So, for example, you are running and then you realize it's 200 meters already. So you would say, it's tiring to run more than 200 meters. And in Filipino, if you really want to say it, you would say, nakakapagod tumakbo ng higit sa 200 metro. So that's it for our lesson for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Do you have any other Filipino verbs that you know that didn't make it to the list? Go ahead and don't hesitate. Please subscribe. Stay here until the next lesson begins.
May isang batang lalaki na nagbabasa ng kanyang talaarawan. Ano ang unang bagay na ginawa ng batang lalaki ngayong araw na ito?
Maganda ang panahon. Nag-swimming ako sa pool noong hapon. Tapos, nagpunta ako sa sinehan nung kinagabihan. Nag-aral din ako ng buong umaga. Hindi na masama.
Ano ang unang bagay na ginawa ng batang lalaki ngayong araw na ito? May isang batang lalaki na nagbabasa ng kanyang talaarawan. Ano ang unang bagay na ginawa ng batang lalaki ngayong araw na ito?
Maganda ang panahon. Nag-swimming ako sa pool noong hapon. Tapos, nagpunta ako sa sinehan nung kinagabihan. Nag-aral din ako ng buong umaga. Hindi na masama.
May isang lalaki at isang babae na tumitingin sa isang larawan. Anong larawan ang tinitignan nila? Ito yung larawan ng soccer team kung saan miyembro ang anak mo, hindi ba? Sino dito ang anak mo?
Ito,
Siya ang pinakamatangkad.
oo, mas matangkad pa siya kaysa sa akin.
Anong larawan ang tinitignan nila? May isang lalaki at isang babae na tumitingin sa isang larawan. Anong larawan ang tinitignan nila? Ito yung larawan ng soccer team kung saan miyembro ang anak mo, hindi ba? Sino dito ang anak mo?
Ito,
Siya ang pinakamatangkad.
oo, mas matangkad pa siya kaysa sa akin.
Kamusta?
Kamusta?
Kamusta ka na?
Mabuti naman. Salamat. Ikaw, kamusta ka na?
Ganun pa rin, gaya noon.
Kamusta? Ako po si Ana.
Kamusta? Ako po si Maya.
Ikinagagalak kong makilala ka.
Ako rin, masaya akong makilala ka.
Magandang umaga. Tuloy po kayo.
Salamat, may regalo ako para sa'yo.
Talaga? Maraming salamat.
Walang anuman.
Aray! Paumanhin po.
Bakit po? Ano pong nangyari?
Inaapakan niyo po ang paa ko.
Pasensya na po, hindi ko po talaga sinasadya. Magandang gabi po, tuloy po kayo.
Pahingi po ako ng menu.
Opo, sandali lang po.
Pahingi rin po ng tubig.
Sige po, sandali lang po.
Miss, kunin niyo na po ang order ko.
Sige po.
May isang babae na nagtatanong sa salesman sa isang tindahan ng libro. Anong libro ang gustong makita ng babae? Mawalang galang lang, gusto ko sanang makita yung libro sa istanteng iyon.
Anong librong gusto mo?
Yung tungkol sa mga kotse.
Sandali lang. Eto ba?
Oo, iyan nga.
Eto na.
Anong libro ang gustong makita ng babae? May isang babae na nagtatanong sa salesman sa isang tindahan ng libro. Anong libro ang gustong makita ng babae? Mawalang galang lang, gusto ko sanang makita yung libro sa istanteng iyon.
Anong librong gusto mo?
Yung tungkol sa mga kotse.
Sandali lang. Eto ba?
Oo, iyan nga.
Eto na.
May isang babae at isang lalaki na tumitingin sa menu sa isang kainan. Ano ang o-orderin ng lalaki?
Ano ang orderin mo?
Mukhang masarap ang pizza. Sa palagay ko, yun ang o-orderin ko.
Nagpizza ako kahapon. Kaya
Okay, ano kaya kung hamburger?
mukhang masarap. Sige, yun ang orderin ko.
Ano ang o-orderin ng lalaki? May isang babae at isang lalaki na tumitingin sa menu sa isang kainan. Ano ang o-orderin ng lalaki?
Ano ang orderin mo?
Mukhang masarap ang pizza. Sa palagay ko, yun ang o-orderin ko.
Nagpizza ako kahapon. Kaya
Okay, ano kaya kung hamburger?
mukhang masarap. Sige, yun ang orderin ko.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Hi, I'm Erica, and welcome to Filipino Top Words. Today we are going to learn 10 phrases to amaze native speakers. Salamat pero sa totoo lang, hindi ako isang native speaker. Thank you, but I'm not a native speaker actually. Salamat pero sa totoo lang, hindi ako isang native speaker. Thank you, but I'm not a native speaker actually. If you start learning now, you'll be one of those few foreigners who can amaze Filipinos. Isang taon lang ang kinailangan ko para maging mahusay sa pagsasalita. It took me only 1 year to become fluent. Isang taon lang ang kinailangan ko para maging mahusay sa pagsasalita. It took me only 1 year to become fluent. So, I don't know how easy actually Filipino is for foreign people. I don't know if in 1 year you'll be able to speak it. Probably like the basics of it, right? Because Filipino, you don't really need to learn new alphabet. And also, some of the words are in Spanish. So if you kind of know Spanish, then you would most probably understand some of the words. But for you to be able to speak 1 year, I think is fine. But for you to be able to actually understand all the nuances in the language, then 1 year is probably a bit too short. Makakapagsalita ako ng Filipino gaya ng isang Pilipino sa loob ng 3 taon. I'll speak Filipino like a native speaker in 3 years. Makakapagsalita ako ng Filipino gaya ng isang Pilipino sa loob ng 3 taon. I'll speak Filipino like a native speaker in 3 years. That's actually a good target, right? But of course, there's still so many things that you won't be, probably like inside jokes, right? Like, or especially since Filipino language is, like any other language, is continuously evolving, right? Because we have lots of slang now, right? Like slang that you get from American slang, and then also gay lingo, right? So all of those words, and then usually when you learn Filipino, you won't get to hear those slang or like street words. And most people actually use a bit of like casual, even in, they only use really formal Filipino in say formal situations, formal settings. So this is a good target, but good luck. 10 taon na akong nag-aaral ng Filipino. I've been learning Filipino for 10 years. 10 taon na akong nag-aaral ng Filipino. I've been learning Filipino for 10 years. That's actually very good. I mean, for me, for us, like English, we take so many years and still there's some things that you cannot understand. So for instance, we learn English, like standard English, right? And then you talk to, say, an American or to a British person. And then there are so many words that you cannot understand. But you cannot understand them because these are like, but it's like the usage of the words is different from how you learned it from the dictionary. Sometimes when you speak to them, you sound so formal. 10 years is very good. Kaya kong manood ng mga pelikulang Filipino nang walang subtitle. I can watch Filipino movies without subtitles. Kaya kong manood ng mga pelikulang Filipino nang walang subtitle. I can watch Filipino movies without subtitles. We are releasing so many indie movies recently. Those are really good movies, so please watch Filipino movies. And if you can see them without subtitles, very good. Kaya kong magkabisa ng higit kumulang mga 50 bagong salitang Filipino kada araw. I can memorize around 50 new Filipino words a day. Kaya kong magkabisa ng higit kumulang mga 50 bagong salitang Filipino kada araw. I can memorize around 50 new Filipino words a day. Oh, that's very impressive. I don't have memories. Masaya at madaling aralin ang Filipino. Filipino is fun and easy to learn. Masaya at madaling aralin ang Filipino. Filipino is fun and easy to learn. Yeah, which actually it is, right? It's very, I think it's easier compared to, say, Japanese, or Chinese. Because as I've said, first, Filipino, you don't need to learn new alphabet, which immediately makes it easy, right? Because learning a new alphabet is very hard, right? I mean, if you say, for example, walk in the streets and then you can read the signs, that's already something. Because say you go to Japan, then you see all the signs and you cannot read kanji or hiragana or katakana, right? Then you cannot, it's like as if you're lost. But at least with Filipino, then you can immediately read the signs. And then the next thing is, you learn the words. Naintindihan ko ang lahat ng sinabi mo. I completely understood everything you said. Naintindihan ko ang lahat ng sinabi mo. I completely understood everything you said. Yeah, so when someone tells you this, then they're amazed. Yeah, so that's why they're just like, oh, great. So for example, someone tells you this very long explanation about something. Then, as a Filipino, you can simply say, gets ko. Because that's very Filipino actually, which means, I got it. Marami akong alam na slang sa Filipino. I know a lot of slang words in Filipino. Marami akong alam na slang sa Filipino. I know a lot of slang words in Filipino. It depends also when you use the slang words, because not in all circumstances can you use slang words, right? Especially if you're just meeting someone for the first time, then you would want to be a bit more formal. Then becoming too formal is not natural. It can be seen as sarcastic even. Actually, I think the key to being thought of as fluent is like getting this balance of being like casual, natural, and also a bit like more formal, right? I think so. Nakakabasa na ako ng nobela sa Filipino. I can now read a novel in Filipino. Nakakabasa na ako ng nobela sa Filipino. I can now read a novel in Filipino, which is very good. If you read actual like old Filipino novels, it's very, what do you call this, like flowery. It's like it really evokes emotions when you read Filipino novels. It's actually hard to write in really, say, old poetic Filipino now. So that's it for today's Filipino top words. What sentence would you say to amaze us? But actually, we're easily amazed, so don't hesitate to write anything down below. Or comment, because you might comment negative things, right? Okay. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see other videos like this, then head on to filipinopod101.com. See you in the next lesson.
Naintindihan ko ang lahat ng sinabi mo.
Marami akong alam. Inay, ito na po ang inyong pansit. Na binili ko sa kanto. Inay, wag mo akong iwan, inay. Hi, my name is Erica, and welcome to Filipino Top Words. Our lesson for today is how to respond to how are you. Let's go. Kamusta? Kamusta? How are you? So the first word is, how are you? In Filipino, kamusta? So this is very useful when you pass by someone, you want to know how they are, right? Or you just want to ask someone how they are. At ikaw? At ikaw. And you? At ikaw? Or in English, and you? How do you usually respond when people ask you, how are you? And you? So if you are trying to avoid answering this question, you can ask, at ikaw? Or, and you? Probably you're like feeling too tired from work or something, right? Or you can, like casually, more people would say, ikaw? Or just simply, ikaw? It all means, and you. So it's a kind of like a nice gesture if someone asks you, how are you? And then you want to ask the same question because you just want to be nice. Kamusta ka naman kamakailan? Kamusta ka naman kamakailan? How have you been recently? So if you want to be more specific about asking them how they are in a certain period of time, you can ask, kamusta ka naman kamakailan? Or, how have you been recently? So, probably you would have friends that would have gone to vacation or would have found a new job or would have graduated from university, which is all me. And then, you can ask them, how have you been recently? Mabuti ako. Mabuti ako. I'm fine. So how do you answer all these how are you questions and variations of how are you? First, you can say, if you are really feeling this, mabuti ako or I'm fine. Of course, you can say it if you're not fine, right? I mean, if you just want to because sometimes when you say, I'm not so okay, I'm feeling a bit down, then they would ask you more things. But sometimes if you don't want to answer any of these things, but you are not fine, you can still say, I'm fine. But in Filipino, you ask people how are you because you want to know how they are. Or we don't really say this as a greeting. Okay naman ako. Okay naman ako. I'm not bad. Aside from I'm fine, how can you respond to how are you? You can say, okay naman ako, or I'm not bad. So if you are feeling like saying that you are not so fine, but you are also not fine, you can say, well, I'm not bad. It's okay. Everything's cool. But I'm crying inside. I'm dead inside. Okay. Inaantok ako. Inaantok ako. I'm sleepy. If you're feeling sleepy, you can say, inaantok ako, or I'm sleepy. After lunch, usually that's the time when you feel this, you're really sleepy. Even though you have lots of work, you're feeling sleepy, or sometimes you don't have lots of work, you're feeling sleepy. So, you can say it. It's valid, it's okay. Just don't say it to your boss. I don't think, if your boss asks you, how are you? I'm sleepy. Oh, that's not really good. Well, probably should go home, not come back anymore. Goodbye. Thank you for your service. That's how it will go, right? Masama ang pakiramdam ko. Masama ang pakiramdam ko. I'm feeling bad. Or if you are not feeling so well, you can say, masama ang pakiramdam ko. Or, I'm feeling bad. So, you can say this if you have a bit of cold, for instance, or your stomach is upset, or what else? Or you have a broken heart, those kinds of things. So, if you want to say that you're feeling bad, you say, masama ang pakiramdam ko. Okay ako. Okay ako. I'm okay. But what if you're just fine? What if you're just okay, but you don't want to say, I'm fine? Or mabuti naman ako, or ayos naman ako. You can also say casually, okay ako, which is very casual. Very simple, okay ako. Okay na okay ako. Okay na okay ako. I'm great. If you want to say that you are really doing great, then you can say, okay na okay ako. You would have to note that in Filipino, when you repeat words, it, what's it called? It's a superlative version of the adjective, kind of. But it's not. But it's kind of amps up the impact of the adjective. So it's equivalent to very. So you would say, okay na okay ako, meaning I'm super duper okay, right? Or if you're really, for instance, sleepy, you would say, antok na antok ako, instead of just saying antok ako, right? Salamat sa pagtatanong. Salamat sa pagtatanong. Thank you for asking. And for instance, you were feeling bad and then this person that asked you, how are you, made you feel happy, then you can say, thank you for asking, or salamat sa pagtatanong. Because of course, you felt happy that someone asked you, especially if you're feeling bad. So that's it for the end of this lesson. Hope you learned something new. And what do you usually say to your friends, your colleagues, people who ask you how you are? And how do they respond to you? Leave them in the comment section and don't forget to like, subscribe, and visit FilipinoPod101.com to learn more Filipino. Salamat! Hanggang sa muli! Hi, welcome everyone. I'm Erica and welcome to Filipino Top Words. For today, our lesson is the top 10 phrases your parents always say. So let's see what your parents usually say to you. Mag-ingat ka. Mag-ingat ka. Be careful. So usually your parents will say this to you if you are leaving the house, or usually send you a text, "Oh, be careful." Or sometimes they will jokingly say, mag-ingat sila sa'yo. In English, they should be careful of you because you are a danger to society. Look at you. Tumahimik ka. Tumahimik ka. Be quiet. So, usually, if you're very loud, your parents will tell this to you. Your mom might be mad because you said something, or you're just talking back, right? And then she will say, tumahimik ka. Or just like sometimes you're just like very talkative, and your mom is like watching TV, some soap opera, and she will say, tumahimik ka. Magtino ka nga. Magtino ka nga. Behave. The weight of the meaning in Filipino is kind of different in English, right? Because in English, you would just say, okay, behave. But in Filipino, it's as if like you did something really bad. This like if you watch many, like say, family dramas or very dramatic movies, Filipino movies, there's always the scene where the dad is telling the kid, magtino ka nga. Gawin mo ang iyong takdang aralin. Gawin mo ang iyong takdang aralin. Do your homework. This is very useful, and this is something that you would always hear from your parents, especially if you have a helicopter mom, right? Helicopter mom is like those moms that are usually over... This is real. Helicopter parenting is a parent who pays extremely close attention to a child or children's experiences and problem, particularly at educational institutions. You know, those kinds of parents who are always waiting. Actually, my mom was like that. No, she's not a helicopter mom, but she's always like waiting outside the school, waiting for me to come out of the school. I think my mom just hangs out there because she has many friends. Doesn't really care. Matulog ka na. Matulog ka na. Go to bed. I actually go to bed earlier than my mom. So I tell her, let's go to bed because I just want to sleep. I don't know what she's doing. This is a very common phrase that I hear between my mom and my sister. Because my sister, I don't know, she watches so much telenovelas in the evening. Magbibilang ako hanggang 3. Magbibilang ako hanggang 3. I'm going to count to 3. But my mom just counts to 1. I don't know if she's really good at counting, but she just counts to 1 and they're like, pa, right? Tumigil ka. Tumigil ka. Stop. I don't know, it's a common thing to hear from your mom. Because I know she's just always irritated. She's always irritated. You do something and then she's like, tumigil ka. You do something, tumigil ka, right? I remember my sister is always initiating fights. Not me. She's always starting the fight. And she just bites. And when she starts biting, I'm just like, no, I'm out. I don't want this. I didn't ask for this. Anong sinabi mo? Anong sinabi mo? What did you say? When you say something a bit like, they didn't like it, when you say it or how you said it, the words you use, they would say, what did you say? But I think they just have a problem with their hearing. Hindi ako nagbibiro. Hindi ako nagbibiro. I'm not kidding. Yeah, you should understand this when she says this. And usually she's not kidding. Because she's always like, I'm not kidding. If you don't stop this, right? Hindi ako nagbibiro. Kung hindi ka tumigil, kung hindi ka titigil, blah, 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 blah. Then, a long list of the stuff that she won't do or she would do, depending, right? She won't do, for instance, she won't like cook anymore or she won't help you with your homework or stuff like that. Moms are always not kidding. Patayin mo na ang TV. Kung hindi, patayin mo na ang TV. Kung hindi, turn the TV off now, or else. So that is the same thing, the same scenario that I was talking about when she says, I'm not kidding, or else. Because there's always an or else, right? So, turn off the TV or turn off the PC, right? Patayin mo na ang TV, patayin mo na ang PC. Or else, kung hindi, and then a list of things that she would do or she won't do. So this is the end of our lesson. What does your mom usually tell you? Ouryourmom.com to learn more Filipino. Hanggang sa muli! In the last lesson, we learned how to be grateful to people by saying salamat. In this lesson, we'll learn some of the most common greetings used in the Philippines. Handa na ba kayo? Are you ready? Then let's start. First, we'll learn the greetings we use when meeting people. Kamusta? Kamusta. Do you remember this from the first lesson? Kamusta literally means, how are you? But it is used as hi or hello. Musta is a shortened version of kamusta, which you can use when greeting friends. Musta, for formal situations, we use kamusta po. Kamusta po. Now, here are sometimes specific greetings used when meeting people. Magandang araw. Magandang araw. Literally, magandang araw means good day. To be more specific about which time in the day we greet someone, we use magandang umaga, magandang tanghali, and magandang hapon, meaning good morning, good noon, and good afternoon respectively. Magandang umaga. Magandang tanghali. Magandang hapon. During the evening, there is only one greeting, and that is magandang gabi. Magandang gabi. Maganda means beautiful or good. The connector NG is added to connect maganda and gabi. In formal situations, you just need to add po to the Filipino greetings I've already mentioned. Magandang araw po, magandang umaga po, magandang tanghali po, magandang hapon po, magandang gabi po. Are you ready for more? Next are some greetings we use when leaving. To say goodbye in Filipino, we say paalam. Paalam. We also have sige mauna na ako. Literally, all right, I'll go ahead. And it's a more casual way of saying goodbye. Sige mauna na ako. Finally, we have hanggang sa muli, meaning see you again. Hanggang sa muli. Again, to make these formal, we just need to add po. Paalam po. Sige, mauna na po ako. Hanggang sa muli po. Now you can greet people in many different ways in Filipino. Let's review them all again. Here are the greetings we use when meeting people. Kamusta? Magandang araw. Magandang umaga. Magandang tanghali. Magandang hapon. Magandang gabi. When leaving, we have paalam. Sige, mauna na ako. Hanggang sa muli. For greeting people who are older than you, just add po. It's easy, isn't it? Now it's time for Erica's tips. Another famous greeting you might hear in the Philippines is mabuhay. This literally means live, but it's used to mean welcome. It is used in formal situations like when welcoming an audience during events, or when welcoming people into the country, but not necessarily when welcoming guests to your home. Kamusta? Ako si Erica. Kinagagalak kong makilala ka. Hi, I'm Erica. Nice to meet you. In this series, we're going to learn basic Filipino expressions. It's super easy, and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to introduce yourself in Filipino. Are you ready? Here we go. Kamusta? Ako si Erica. Kinagagalak kong makilala ka. Hi, I'm Erica. It's nice to meet you. Kamusta? Ako si Erica. Kinagagalak kong makilala ka. Did you get it? Let's take it step by step. Start by saying, Kamusta? This means, how are you? But is commonly used to say, hi in Filipino. Next, say, Ako si, I am, and then your name. My name is Erica, so I'll say, Ako si Erica. Finally, say, Kinagagalak kong makilala ka. This means, it's nice to meet you. Kinagagalak kong makilala ka. Kamusta? Ako si Erica. Kinagagalak kong makilala ka. Next, we're going to learn how to introduce ourselves in formal Filipino. But first, I'll teach you 2 words that turns any Filipino sentence formal. They are po and opo. Po, opo. All Filipinos learn these 2 words when they are young because they are a must when speaking politely to those who are older. Now here's how to introduce yourself in formal Filipino. Kamusta po? Ako si Erica Reyes. Kinagagalak ko po kayong makilala. How are you? I'm Erica Reyes. It's nice to meet you. Kamusta po? Ako si Erica Reyes. Kinagagalak ko po kayong makilala. Did you notice the word po in this introduction? Let's compare it with the informal introduction we learned earlier. First, we have kamusta po instead of just kamusta. As we've said before, kamusta means how are you and has essentially the same use as hi in English. It comes from the Spanish phrase ¿cómo está? We add the word po to this to make it polite. For the next sentence, there is no need to change ako si or I am. However, saying your full name is considered more formal. In the Philippines, we say our first names first and last names last. Finally, pay attention to the ending. We went from kinagagalak kong makilala ka to kinagagalak ko po kayong makilala. Ka or you is changed to the plural pronoun kayo to make the sentence more formal. The pronoun is moved to the front of the verb, and ng is added to connect the words. Finally, we also add po to the sentence to show respect. One more time. The informal way to introduce yourself in Filipino is, Kamusta? Ako si Erica. Kinagagalak kong makilala ka. The formal way to introduce yourself is, Kamusta po? Ako si Erica Reyes. Kinagagalak ko po kayong makilala. Now it's time for Erica's tips. Have you gotten hold of saying, Kinagagalak kong makilala ka? Well, you might be surprised, but Filipinos say, Nice to meet you, more often than its Filipino counterpart. This is because many English words and phrases are used in daily conversation since English is the second official language of the Philippines. Filipinos also shake hands during first meetings, just like in many Western cultures. But of course, if you use the proper Filipino introduction, your new Filipino friends will definitely be impressed. In the last lesson, we learned the most common greetings in Filipino. Do you remember them? In this lesson, we're going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? This phrase can be a lifesaver. The majority of Filipino people understand English. But if you ask in Filipino, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you're saying, even if their answer is no. Here's the informal way to ask it. Nagsasalita ka ba ng Ingles? Nagsasalita ka ba ng Ingles? Let's break down the sentence. In Filipino, the verb can come before the subject. Nagsasalita means speaking, followed by ka, which means you. Next, there is ba, which is the question marking particle. After it comes nang, which acts as an object marking particle, marking Ingles, which, as you might have guessed, is English. Another common way to ask if someone can speak English is, marunong ka bang mag-Ingles? Literally, this means, can you do English? Marunong ka bang mag-Ingles? Now we're going to make these sentences formal. Filipinos follow the Spanish custom of changing a singular pronoun to plural in order to show respect in formal situations, so we change ka to kayo and then move it after ba. We also need to add po as a sign of respect. Everything else stays the same. Nagsasalita po ba kayo ng Ingles? Marunong po ba kayong mag-Ingles? Nagsasalita po ba kayo ng Ingles? Marunong po ba kayong mag-Ingles? If you want to be even more formal, you can add mawalang galang lang po before the sentence. It means, excuse me. Mawalang galang lang po. Nagsasalita po ba kayo ng Ingles? Excuse me, do you speak English? Mawalang galang lang po. Marunong po ba kayong mag-Ingles? Here are some common responses you might hear. Oo. Yes. Oo. Konti. A little. Konti. Hindi. No. Hindi. Now it's time for Erica's tips. For those of you who are not only English speakers, you can use this question with any language you need. Just substitute Ingles with Español for Spanish, Hapon for Japanese, Italiano for Italian, Aleman for German, and so on. In the last lesson, we learned the phrase, mawalang galang lang po. Nagsasalita po ba kayo ng Ingles? Excuse me, do you speak English? We mentioned the phrase, mawalang galang lang po, which means, excuse me, in formal Filipino. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use this and other words when apologizing in Filipino. We can use mawalang galang lang po when we need to stop someone to ask a question. It literally means just to be rude, but is used to mean excuse me. For example, mawalang galang lang po, nasaan po ang palengke? Excuse me, where is the market? Mawalang galang lang po, nasaan po ang palengke? There is another phrase we use to mean excuse me, and that is paumanhin po. However, paumanhin po is used when you have bothered someone and could also mean I'm sorry. Paumanhin po. We use mawalang galang lang po and paumanhin po exclusively for formal situations. For informal situations, Filipinos usually just say, excuse me. But if there is something you really want to apologize for, it might be better to use a different phrase. That phrase is, patawarin mo ako. It means, please forgive me, and is used in informal situations. Patawarin mo ako. In formal situations, we say, patawarin niyo po ako. Patawarin niyo po ako. Here we added po and turned the second person pronoun into plural. Another common phrase Filipinos use for apologizing is, pasensya na po kayo. Pasensya na po kayo. This phrase is usually heard from shopkeepers when apologizing to customers. It can be translated as, please be patient with us. Now it's time for Erica's tips. In the Philippines, it is normal to simply say, excuse me, or I'm sorry, since English is commonly used in conversation. You could also add po to these phrases to make them sound a bit more formal and sincere. Excuse me po, or excuse po, I'm sorry po, or sorry po. In the last lesson, we learned how to introduce ourselves in Filipino. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use good manners as we thank people. Handa na ba kayo? Are you ready? Then let's go. Here's how we say thank you in Filipino. It's very easy. Salamat. Salamat. Salamat means thank you. When saying thank you very much, you just need to add maraming. Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat. Marami means a lot, and the NG is a connector added to marami to connect marami and salamat. Maraming salamat literally means many thanks and is equivalent to thank you very much. During the last lesson, we mentioned the informal and formal way of speaking Filipino. Salamat is the informal way to thank someone. When thanking someone older than you need to use the polite formal form. Do you remember what we need in order to do that? That's right. We just need to add the word po. Salamat po. Salamat po. If you really want to thank someone in a formal setting, you can add maraming, which means a lot, as we have just learned. Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat po. Now, how do you answer? It's easy. Just say, walang anuman. Walang anuman. Walang anuman literally means it's nothing, but it is the equivalent of you are welcome. Wala means nothing, while anuman stands for whatsoever. It is a very common phrase to say when replying to a friend or a stranger who is thanking you. To make it formal and more polite, just add po. Walang anuman po. Walang anuman po. So when someone says salamat or maraming salamat po to you, you can simply reply with walang anuman or walang anuman po. Yes, it's that easy.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Kamusta?
Kamusta?
Kamusta ka na?
Mabuti naman. Salamat. Ikaw, kamusta ka na?
Ganun pa rin, gaya noon.
Kamusta? Ako po si Ana.
Kamusta? Ako po si Maya.
Ikinagagalak kong makilala ka.
Ako rin, masaya akong makilala ka.
Magandang umaga. Tuloy po kayo.
Salamat, may regalo ako para sa'yo.
Talaga? Maraming salamat.
Walang anuman.
Aray! Paumanhin po.
Bakit po? Ano pong nangyari?
Inaapakan niyo po ang paa ko.
Pasensya na po. Hindi ko po talaga sinasadya. Magandang gabi po. Tuloy po kayo.
Pahingi po ako ng menu.
Opo, sandali lang po.
Pahingi rin po ng tubig.
Sige po, sandali lang po.
Miss, kunin niyo na po ang order ko.
Sige po.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabriella. How are your Filipino listening skills? In this video, you'll have a chance to test them out with a quiz. First, you'll see an image and hear a question. Next comes a short dialogue. Listen carefully and see if you can answer correctly. We'll show you the answer at the end. Are you ready?
May isang babae na nagtatanong sa salesman sa isang tindahan ng libro. Anong libro ang gustong makita ng babae? Mawalang galang lang, gusto ko sanang makita yung libro sa istanteng iyon.
Anong librong gusto mo?
Yung tungkol sa mga kotse.
Sandali lang. Eto ba?
Oo, iyan nga.
Eto na,
Anong libro ang gustong makita ng babae? May isang babae na nagtatanong sa salesman sa isang tindahan ng libro. Anong libro ang gustong makita ng babae? Mawalang galang lang, gusto ko sanang makita yung libro sa istanteng iyon.
anong librong gusto mo?
Yung tungkol sa mga kotse.
Sandali lang. Eto ba?
Oo, iyan nga.
Eto na.
May isang babae at isang lalaki na tumitingin sa menu sa isang kainan. Ano ang o-orderin ng lalaki?
Ano ang orderin mo?
Mukhang masarap ang pizza. Sa palagay ko, yun ang o-orderin ko.
Nagpizza ako kahapon. Kaya
Okay, ano kaya kung hamburger?
mukhang masarap. Sige, yun ang orderin ko.
Ano ang o-orderin ng lalaki? May isang babae at isang lalaki na tumitingin sa menu sa isang kainan. Ano ang o-orderin ng lalaki?
Ano ang orderin mo?
Mukhang masarap ang pizza. Sa palagay ko, yun ang o-orderin ko.
Nagpizza ako kahapon. Kaya
Okay, ano kaya kung hamburger?
mukhang masarap. Sige, yun ang orderin ko.
May isang lalaki na tumatawag sa opisina ng isang doktor. Anong oras niya kailangan na nasa opisina ng doktor? Hello, anong kailangan nyo?
Anong oras kayo magsasara ngayon?
Nagsasara kami ng alas 6. Pero pumunta na kayo bago mag alas 5:30.
Okay, salamat.
Anong oras niya kailangan na nasa opisina ng doktor? May isang lalaki na tumatawag sa opisina ng isang doktor. Anong oras niya kailangan na nasa opisina ng doktor? Hello, anong kailangan nyo?
Anong oras kayo magsasara ngayon?
Nagsasara kami ng alas 6. Pero pumunta na kayo bago mag alas 5:30.
Okay, salamat.
May isang batang lalaki na nagbabasa ng kanyang talaarawan. Ano ang unang bagay na ginawa ng batang lalaki ngayong araw na ito?
Maganda ang panahon. Nag-swimming ako sa pool noong hapon. Tapos, nagpunta ako sa sinehan nung kinagabihan. Nag-aral din ako ng buong umaga. Hindi na masama.
Ano ang unang bagay na ginawa ng batang lalaki ngayong araw na ito? May isang batang lalaki na nagbabasa ng kanyang talaarawan. Ano ang unang bagay na ginawa ng batang lalaki ngayong araw na ito?
Maganda ang panahon. Nag-swimming ako sa pool noong hapon. Tapos, nagpunta ako sa sinehan nung kinagabihan. Nag-aral din ako ng buong umaga. Hindi na masama.
May isang lalaki at isang babae na tumitingin sa isang larawan. Anong larawan ang tinitignan nila? Ito yung larawan ng soccer team kung saan miyembro ang anak mo, hindi ba? Sino dito ang anak mo?
Ito,
Ah, siya ang pinakamatangkad.
oo, mas matangkad pa siya kaysa sa akin.
Anong larawan ang tinitignan nila? May isang lalaki at isang babae na tumitingin sa isang larawan. Anong larawan ang tinitignan nila? Ito yung larawan ng soccer team kung saan miyembro ang anak mo, hindi ba? Sino dito ang anak mo?
Ito,
Ah, siya ang pinakamatangkad.
oo, mas matangkad pa siya kaysa sa akin.
May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap. Kailan sila manonood sa sinehan?
Bakit hindi tayo manood sa sinihan sa susunod na Sabado?
Oo, gusto ko yan. Pero may part-time na trabaho ako sa umaga.
Anong oras ka matatapos sa part-time mo?
Matatapos ako ng 2:00.
O sige, magkita tayo sa cafe ng 3:00 at manood sa sinihan ng 4:00.
Okay. Kailan sila manonood sa sinehan? May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap. Kailan sila manonood sa sinehan?
Bakit hindi tayo manood sa sinihan sa susunod na Sabado?
Oo, gusto ko yan. Pero may part-time na trabaho ako sa umaga.
Anong oras ka matatapos sa part-time mo?
Matatapos ako ng 2:00.
O sige, magkita tayo sa cafe ng 3:00 at manood sa sinihan ng 4:00.
Okay. May isang lalaking nakikipag-usap sa isang sales lady. Aling damit ang kanyang bibilhin?
Anong damit ang sa palagay mong mas mainam? Itong puti o yung asul?
Sa palagay ko, mas mainam po ang asul. Bagay po sa inyong gray na jacket.
Sa tingin mo? Pero hindi bagay sa pula kong kurbata, di ba?
Oo nga po.
Okay, sige. Ang kukunin ko ay itong puti, hindi yung asul.
Aling damit ang kanyang bibilhin? May isang lalaking nakikipag-usap sa isang sales lady. Aling damit ang kanyang bibilhin?
Anong damit ang sa palagay mong mas mainam? Itong puti o yung asul?
Sa palagay ko, mas mainam po ang asul. Bagay po sa inyong gray na jacket.
Sa tingin mo? Pero hindi bagay sa pula kong kurbata, di ba?
Oo nga po.
Okay, sige. Ang kukunin ko ay itong puti, hindi yung asul.
May isang lalaki na nasa tindahan ng hamburger. Aling set ang kanyang o-orderin?
Mawalang galang lang. Gusto ko sana ng espesyal na burger set.
Opo. Pumili po kayo kung french fries o salad.
Salad,
Okay. Pumili naman po kayo ng inumin.
Coke,
Aling set ang kanyang o-orderin? May isang lalaki na nasa tindahan ng hamburger. Aling set ang kanyang o-orderin?
mawalang galang lang. Gusto ko sana ng espesyal na burger set.
Opo. Pumili po kayo kung french fries o salad.
Salad,
Okay. Pumili naman po kayo ng inumin.
Coke.
May isang guro na nagluluto ng cake. Ano ang inilagay ng guro? Ngayon ay gagawa tayo ng cake. Una, paghaluin ng mantikilya at asukal. Tapos, magdagdag ng 2 itlog at paghaluin ng mabuti. Magdagdag ng harina at dahan-dahan itong haluin. Ilagay ito sa oven at lutuin ng 50 minuto. Ganoon kadali. Ano ang inilagay ng guro? May isang guro na nagluluto ng cake. Ano ang inilagay ng guro? Ngayon ay gagawa tayo ng cake. Una, paghaluin ng mantikilya at asukal. Tapos, magdagdag ng 2 itlog at paghaluin ng mabuti. Magdagdag ng harina at dahan-dahan itong haluin. Ilagay ito sa oven at lutuin ng 50 minuto. Ganoon kadali. May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap. Ano ang una nilang gagawin?
Ano ang gusto mong gawin ngayon?
Gusto kong manood sa sinehan.
Okay, gusto ko manood ng laro ng baseball sa TV.
Gusto ko rin mamili.
Mag-uumpisa ang laro ng baseball ng 1:00 ng hapon.
Okay, manood muna tayo ng pelikula para makanood ka ng laro pagkatapos.
Mainam. Tapos, lumabas tayo para mamili mamayang gabi.
Ano ang una nilang gagawin? May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap. Ano ang una nilang gagawin?
Ano ang gusto mong gawin ngayon?
Gusto kong manood sa sinehan.
Okay, gusto ko manood ng laro ng baseball sa TV.
Gusto ko rin mamili.
Mag-uumpisa ang laro ng baseball ng 1:00 ng hapon.
Okay, manood muna tayo ng pelikula para makanood ka ng laro pagkatapos.
Mainam. Tapos, lumabas tayo para mamili mamayang gabi.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
May isang guro at isang mag-aaral na nag-uusap. Kailan pupunta ang mag-aaral sa opisina ng guro? Hindi ko po talaga naintindihan lahat ng tinalakay sa klase kanina.
Sige, mayroon ka bang mga tanong?
Opo, medyo marami po. May oras po ba kayo ngayon?
Medyo abala ako ngayon eh. Pumunta ka na lang sa aking opisina mamayang hapon. Andoon ako mula 1:00 hanggang 4:00 ng hapon.
Ayos po, asahan niyo po ako ng 2:00. Kailan pupunta ang mag-aaral sa opisina ng guro? May isang guro at isang mag-aaral na nag-uusap. Kailan pupunta ang mag-aaral sa opisina ng guro? Hindi ko po talaga naintindihan lahat ng tinalakay sa klase kanina.
Sige, mayroon ka bang mga tanong?
Opo, medyo marami po. May oras po ba kayo ngayon?
Medyo abala ako ngayon eh. Pumunta ka na lang sa aking opisina mamayang hapon. Andoon ako mula 1:00 hanggang 4:00 ng hapon.
Ayos po, asahan niyo po ako ng 2:00. May isang babae na nagtatanghalian sa isang restaurant. Ano ang kanyang o-orderin?
Gusto niyo po ba magkape o maghimagas matapos ng inyong tanghalian?
Anong panghimagas ang mayroon kayo?
Mayroon kaming pudding at apple pie.
Sa totoo lang, kape lang ang gusto ko.
Gusto niyo po ba ng asukal at gatas?
Pakisamahan ng gatas. Ano ang kanyang o-orderin? May isang babae na nagtatanghalian sa isang restaurant. Ano ang kanyang o-orderin?
Gusto niyo po ba magkape o maghimagas matapos ng inyong tanghalian?
Anong panghimagas ang mayroon kayo?
Mayroon kaming pudding at apple pie.
Sa totoo lang, kape lang ang gusto ko.
Gusto niyo po ba ng asukal at gatas?
Pakisamahan ng gatas. May isang babaeng naghihintay sa isang lalaki. Saan maghihintay ang babae?
Hi, pasensya na pero mahuli ako ng 30 minuto.
Okay, maghihintay ako sa'yo sa cafe.
Sa cafe? Saan yun?
Katabi ng tindahan ng libro. May panaderya sa kabila nun.
O sige,
Saan maghihintay ang babae? May isang babaeng naghihintay sa isang lalaki. Saan maghihintay ang babae?
hi, pasensya na pero mahuli ako ng 30 minuto.
Okay, maghihintay ako sa'yo sa cafe.
Sa cafe? Saan yun?
Katabi ng tindahan ng libro. May panaderya sa kabila nun.
O sige,
May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap. Ano ang gagawin ng babae sa bakasyon ng tag-init?
naplano mo na ba ang bakasyon mo ngayong panahon ng tag-init?
Hindi pa. Pinag-iisipan ko kung pupunta ako sa dagat o sa bundok.
Pupunta ako sa dagat kasama ng mga kaibigan ko. Magsa-surf kami.
Mainam.
Bakit hindi ka na lang sumama sa amin?
Magiging masaya yon. Sige, sasama ako sa inyo. Ano ang gagawin ng babae sa bakasyon ng tag-init? May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap. Ano ang gagawin ng babae sa bakasyon ng tag-init?
Naplano mo na ba ang bakasyon mo ngayong panahon ng tag-init?
Hindi pa. Pinag-iisipan ko kung pupunta ako sa dagat o sa bundok.
Pupunta ako sa dagat kasama ng mga kaibigan ko. Magsa-surf kami.
Mainam.
Bakit hindi ka na lang sumama sa amin?
Magiging masaya yon. Sige, sasama ako sa inyo. May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap. Ano ang kinain niya ngayong umaga? Nagugutom na ako.
Nag-agahan ka ba?
Oo, nag-agahan ako. Pero kaunti lang ang kinain ko.
Anong kinain mo?
Yogurt lang at kape.
Masyadong kaunti yon. Dapat kumain ka rin ng tinapay at prutas.
Ano ang kinain niya ngayong umaga? May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap. Ano ang kinain niya ngayong umaga? Nagugutom na ako.
Nag-agahan ka ba?
Oo, nag-agahan ako. Pero kaunti lang ang kinain ko.
Anong kinain mo?
Yogurt lang at kape.
Masyadong kaunti yon. Dapat kumain ka rin ng tinapay at prutas.
May isang babae na nasa department store. Sa aling palapag siya papunta? Mawalang galang lang, nasaan ang mga damit pambata?
Nasa ika-5 at ika-6 na palapag po.
Mayroon din ba kayong mga damit na pangsanggol?
Opo, marami po kaming damit na pangsanggol sa ika-6 na palapag.
Maraming salamat. Pupunta ako doon at maghahanap. Sa aling palapag siya papunta? May isang babae na nasa department store. Sa aling palapag siya papunta? Mawalang galang lang, nasaan ang mga damit pambata?
Nasa ika-5 at ika-6 na palapag po.
Mayroon din ba kayong mga damit na pangsanggol?
Opo, marami po kaming damit na pangsanggol sa ika-6 na palapag.
Maraming salamat. Pupunta ako doon at maghahanap. May isang lalaki at isang babae na nag-uusap. Ilang taong gulang na ang lalaki ngayon? Malapit na ang kaarawan mo.
Oo, kinabukasan na.
Magiging ilang taong gulang ka na?
Magiging 60 taong gulang na ako.
Binabati kita. Magdiwang tayo.
Maraming salamat.
Ilang taong gulang na ang lalaki ngayon? May isang lalaki at isang babae na nag-uusap. Ilang taong gulang na ang lalaki ngayon? Malapit na ang kaarawan mo.
Oo, kinabukasan na.
Magiging ilang taong gulang ka na?
Magiging 60 taong gulang na ako.
Binabati kita. Magdiwang tayo.
Maraming salamat.
May isang babae na tumitingin ng mga damit sa isang butik. Ano ang kanyang bibilhin? Yung asul at puting palda. Gusto ko sila pareho.
Opo, mabenta nga ang puting palda.
Medyo mas mahal ang asul na palda.
Opo, pero babagay yun sa inyo.
Pero hindi ko kayang bilhin pareho. Yung puti ang bibilhin ko.
Okay, maraming salamat po.
Ano ang kanyang bibilhin? May isang babae na tumitingin ng mga damit sa isang butik. Ano ang kanyang bibilhin? Yung asul at puting palda. Gusto ko sila pareho.
Opo, mabenta nga ang puting palda.
Medyo mas mahal ang asul na palda.
Opo, pero babagay yun sa inyo.
Pero hindi ko kayang bilhin pareho. Yung puti ang bibilhin ko.
Okay, maraming salamat po.
May isang lalaki at isang babae na nag-uusap. Ilang tao lahat ang pupunta sa kasiyahan?
Bukas na magaganap ang kasiyahan.
Sino ang dadalo?
Tayong dalawa, 2 kaibigan ko at ang guro.
5 ang dadating kung ganoon.
Isasama pala ng guro ang kanyang may bahay.
Nakuha ko. Ilang tao lahat ang pupunta sa kasiyahan? May isang lalaki at isang babae na nag-uusap. Ilang tao lahat ang pupunta sa kasiyahan?
Bukas na magaganap ang kasiyahan.
Sino ang dadalo?
Tayong 2 kaibigan ko at ang guro.
5 ang dadating kung ganoon.
Isasama pala ng guro ang kanyang may bahay.
Nakuha ko. May isang babae na bumili ng kama. Saan niya ito ilalagay?
Malaki ang kamang ito.
Oo nga eh. Hindi ko nga mailagay malapit sa pinto.
Ilagay natin sa dulo ng kwarto.
Ilagay kaya natin sa gitna?
Huwag. Ilagay natin sa dulo.
Sige, mukhang mainam. Pwede mo ba akong tulungan na buhatin ang kama? Saan niya ito ilalagay? May isang babae na bumili ng kama. Saan niya ito ilalagay?
Malaki ang kamang ito.
Oo nga eh. Hindi ko nga mailagay malapit sa pinto.
Ilagay natin sa dulo ng kwarto.
Ilagay kaya natin sa gitna?
Huwag. Ilagay natin sa dulo.
Sige, mukhang mainam. Pwede mo ba akong tulungan na buhatin ang kama?
May isang guro na nakikipag-usap sa mga estudyante. Ano ang mga dadalhin ng mga estudyante?
Bukas pupunta tayo sa isang museo. Magdala kayo ng panulat at kwaderno at maiinom. Manananghalian tayo sa restaurant ng museo kaya hindi nyo na kailangang magdala ng sandwich.
Payong po?
Baka umulan. Sige, pakidala na rin.
Okay. Ano ang mga dadalhin ng mga estudyante? May isang guro na nakikipag-usap sa mga estudyante. Ano ang mga dadalhin ng mga estudyante?
Bukas pupunta tayo sa isang museo. Magdala kayo ng panulat at kwaderno at maiinom. Manananghalian tayo sa restaurant ng museo kaya hindi nyo na kailangang magdala ng sandwich.
Payong po?
Baka umulan. Sige, pakidala na rin.
Okay.
May isang lalaki at isang babae na nag-uusap. Kailan sila magpapamasahe? Kakabukas lang ng lugar ng kaibigan ko para sa masahe.
Lugar para sa masahe? Gusto kong pumunta.
May oras ka ba sa Sabado?
Abala ako sa Sabado. Paano kaya kung Linggo?
Sarado ang lugar kung Linggo. Paano kaya kung Biyernes?
Okay,
Kailan sila magpapamasahe? May isang lalaki at isang babae na nag-uusap. Kailan sila magpapamasahe? Kakabukas lang ng lugar ng kaibigan ko para sa masahe.
lugar para sa masahe? Gusto kong pumunta.
May oras ka ba sa Sabado?
Abala ako sa Sabado. Paano kaya kung Linggo?
Sarado ang lugar kung Linggo. Paano kaya kung Biyernes?
Okay,
May isang babae na nakikipag-usap sa isang salesman. Sa aling palapag na ngayon papunta ang babae? Mawalang galang lang, saan ang mga damit para sa babae?
sa ikatlo, ika-4 at ika-5 palapag po.
Sa aling palapag kayo may mga coat?
Sa ika-4 na palapag po, naroon banda ang elevator.
Sa ika-4 na palapag? Salamat. Sa aling palapag na ngayon papunta ang babae? May isang babae na nakikipag-usap sa isang salesman. Sa aling palapag na ngayon papunta ang babae? Mawalang galang lang, saan ang mga damit para sa babae?
Sa ikatlo, ikaapat at ikalimang palapag po.
Sa aling palapag kayo may mga coat?
Sa ikaapat na palapag po, naroon banda ang elevator.
Sa ikaapat na palapag? Salamat!
Did you get it right? I hope you learned something from this quiz. Let us know if you have any questions. See you next time.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
The top 25 phrases. Let's begin. Kamusta ka? Hello, how are you? The first phrase is kamusta ka? Hello or how are you? So when you're meeting someone for the first time, you try to be a bit more polite and say, instead of kamusta ka, you say kamusta po kayo, which is the same as hello, how are you? Magandang umaga. Good morning. So the next word is magandang umaga, which means good morning. People there are very, very warm, very kind. So it's very common to hear like people greeting each other when they pass by each other in the corridor and like in the classroom, for example, in the office. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Magandang tanghali. Good noon. So now what do we say when it's noon? We say magandang tanghali. Good noon. In the Philippines, especially during lunchtime, when you come in and then like it's everyone is eating, you always say magandang tanghali. And then when they hear you say it, you sound as if you're a native speaker. Magandang hapon. Good afternoon. Okay, so when the morning is done, noon is over, then what do you say? Magandang hapon. Good afternoon. Magandang gabi. Good evening. So if you want to say good evening, you say magandang gabi. Anong pangalan mo? What's your name? So what if you're going to ask someone for their name? So you say, anong pangalan mo? Or, what's your name? If you meet someone for the first time, if it's the morning, you say, good morning. What's your name? Magandang umaga. Anong pangalan mo? When you want to ask someone for their name, you need to be polite. So, you add po, which is the particle, and then you use the plural form of you. So you say, ano pong pangalan nyo? Ako si, I'm. If you are on the receiving end of that question, then you say, ako si, name. Or, I'm, name. Ako si, Erika. I'm Erika. Ikinagagalak kong makilala ka. Nice to meet you. If you want to express now how happy you are to meet this new person, then you would say, ikinagagalak kong makilala ka. Nice to meet you. Since this is the first time you're meeting this person, you should use the polite form, which is, ikinagagalak ko po kayong makilala. Ayos lang ako. Ikaw. I'm fine. And you? When someone asks you, how are you? Of course, either you are okay or you're not. You will say, you are fine. So how do you say it in Filipino? You would say, ayos lang ako. Ikaw. In English, I'm fine. And you? Or if you're not okay, you can say, ayos lang ako. Ikaw. Paki. Please. So if you want to ask someone for a favor, what would you say? In English, we say please. In Filipino, we use a prefix that we say as paki. We add to another verb. So for example, we say, please bring this to the office. Then you will say in Filipino, pakidala ito sa opisina. Salamat. Thank you. Salamat. Or thank you. Walang anuman. You're welcome. Then you also want to be polite and say, you're welcome. Or in Filipino, walang anuman. Oo. Yes. How do you express agreement in Filipino? You say, oo, which means yes. Very simple. For example, there's an older person talking to you and you want to say yes. You should be a bit more polite and say opo. Hindi. No. So what if you want to say no? then you use hindi. Or if you want to be polite, you say hindi po. Sige. Okay. So, say you have a friend who asks you, do you want to drink with me all night, have party all night, those kind of things. And then you say, yeah, fine, okay. So, in Filipino, you say, sige. Paumanhin. Excuse me. So, for example, you have an older colleague at work, and this person is busy, but you need to ask her for something. So, you say, excuse me. And in Filipino, you say, paumanhin or paumanhin po, to be more polite. Patawad. I'm sorry. If you did something really, really bad, then we use patawad. I'm sorry. Anong oras na? What time is it? So what does anong oras na mean? It means, what time is it? Nasaan ang CR? Where is the restroom? Nasaan ang CR? Or, to be polite, because even at that time, you have to be polite, even if it's like really urgent. You have to be polite, you say, nasaan po ang CR? Hindi ko alam. I don't know. Hindi ko alam. I don't know. If your boss asks you, oh, where is your office mate? This person? And then you don't know, then you say, hindi ko po alam. Sandali lang. Wait a moment. So if you say to your boss, because your boss is asking you, where is the report? You want to say, wait a moment. So you say, sandali lang po. So your friends came over to your house and you haven't taken a bath. You haven't fixed yourself. And then your friends just want to go out to have fun. But you want to say, wait a moment, wait a minute. Give me like an hour or something to at least get ready. So you would say, sandali lang. Magkano ito? How much is this? So you finally got dressed and then you went out with your friend. And you are at the mall, like looking at some nice pearls, because in the Philippines we have lots of pearls. How will you ask the salesperson? So you can say, magkano po ito? Or if you're a friend, or if it's like a younger salesperson probably, you can just simply say, magkano ito? How much is this? Pwede bang makuha na ang bill? Could I get the check, please? After dinner, you want to pay because it's your treat, because you forced your friends to eat adobo. So you would ask the waitress or the waiter for the check. So how do you say it in Filipino? Pwede bang makuha ang bill? Could I get the check, please? Or, if you cannot remember all these, just simply do this. Tulong. Help. So you're walking in the street and then you're very not careful with your things. So you're walking, you're holding your bag like this, and someone stole your bag. Like, oh. You want to call for help. So what do you say? You say, tulong, help. And then the more you scream it, the more people will hear you. Hanggang sa muli. See you again soon. It's the end of the day, and you've had fun with your friends. So you tell your friends, oh, okay, bye. See you again soon. Which in Filipino is hanggang sa muli. But in regular conversations, you don't really say this. We tend to say, see you, or sige. Top 25 verbs that you will need when you go to the Philippines. So, let's go ahead and get started. Maging, to become. Maging, to become. Maging can mean to be or to become. Mahirap maging hindi tapat sa sarili. It's hard not to be honest with yourself. Gustuhin, to like. So next word is gustuhin, to like. Nagustuhan niya ang pinadala mo. She liked what you sent. Gawin, to do. Next word is gawin, which means to do. It's easier said than done. In Filipino, we say, mas madaling sabihin kaysa gawin. And your mom will always use this because your mom always has many things that she wants you to do. Sabihin, to say. So our next verb is sabihin. In English, it can mean either to say or to tell. So for example, we want to say in English, don't tell our secret to anyone. In Filipino, you would say, huwag mong sabihin ang sikreto natin kahit kanino. Ipaliwanag, to explain. Ipaliwanag, to explain. Dapat ipaliwanag ng guro ng mabuti ang paksa. The teacher should explain the matter thoroughly. So for example, you're resting, looking at your phone, and then here comes your mom and tells you, magpaliwanag ka. Explain. This is very useful when you have to talk to your mom. Marinig, to hear. Marinig, to hear. Hindi kita marinig. I can't hear you. Again, you can use this when you're talking to your mom. Probably you can tell her, I didn't do this because I didn't hear you tell me do this. That's a very unsatisfactory answer for your mom all the time. Pumunta, to go. Pumunta, to go. So we can say, gusto kong pumunta sa Palawan. I want to go to Palawan. Tara na, biyahe tayo. Alamin, to know. Alamin, to know. Gusto kong alamin kung mas mahirap bang matutunan ang Japanese o Chinese. I want to know if it's harder to learn Japanese or Chinese. Compared to Japanese or Chinese, Filipino is easier, right? So, please take the time to study Filipino. You will take less time than studying Japanese than if you go and study Japanese or Chinese. So, you know what to learn. Kunin, to take. Kunin, to take. For example, we want to say in English, please take the bill so that we can leave already. In Filipino, what you will say is, kunin mo na ang bill natin para makaalis na tayo. So when you go to the Philippines and you eat at a restaurant and you want to ask for the check, just do this hand sign. Makita, to see. Makita, to see. Huwag kang mainis pag nakita mo. Don't get annoyed when you see it. So, what are the things that you get annoyed when you see? Dumating, to arrive. Dumating, to arrive. Dumating na ang pinakahihintay mong balita. Your long-awaited news has finally arrived. Isipin, to think. Isipin, to think. Isipin nating mabuti bago magdesisyon. Let's think of it thoroughly before making a decision. Actually, this is very important because every day of your life you have to think. Tumingin, to look. Tumingin, to look. Huwag kang tumingin sa malayo pag may kausap ka. Don't look far away when you're talking with someone. Because obviously you're talking with someone, right? How would it feel like if you're talking to this person face to face and you're looking at the side like this? Naisin, to want. Naisin, to want. I want to become an engineer rather than be a doctor. Mas nais kong maging inhinyero kaysa maging doktor. Magbigay, to give. Magbigay, to give. For example, someone asks you, oh, who can give me advice on something? And then you say, Alex gives excellent advice on whatever that is. In Filipino, how you would say it, magaling magbigay ng payo si Alex. Gamitin, to use. Gamitin, to use. So for example, I don't know where you can use actually you can use gamitin a lot. For example, let's use it in a proper sentence. Hindi natin pwedeng gamitin ang may nakasulat na bawal gamitin. So, in English, we can say, we can't use the ones which are marked don't use. I have a pretty straightforward, don't use it. Hanapin, to find. Hanapin, to find. You're asking your mom, where is this thing that I'm looking for? So she says, Pina, find it in the second drawer. In Filipino, it means, hanapin mo sa ikalawang drawer. Usually, your mom will call you Pina, according to her, if you don't use your eyes to look for things. It's actually very useful. So, just remember that if you are going to look for something, don't ask your mom. Because you don't know what kind of fate will befall you. You might be a pineapple at the end. Lumabas, to go out. Lumabas, or to go out. So, you want to ask permission from your parents before you go out. How do we say it in Filipino? Magpaalam ka muna sa iyong mga magulang bago ka lumabas. Ask permission from your parents before you go out. Someday, kids, you will be parents too. Magtanong, to ask. Magtanong, to ask. So, for example, you have a new office mate and you want to tell your office mate, huwag kang mahiyang magtanong kapag hindi mo alam ang sagot. In English, what you just said means, Don't hesitate to ask if you don't know the answer. Magtrabaho, to work. The next verb is magtrabaho, or to work. So for example, you want to say, as much as possible, I don't want to work overtime. In Filipino, you can tell your boss, ayaw kong magtrabaho ng overtime hanggat maaari. Mag, it's the way you conjugate verbs, but it's in Filipino. And then trabaho comes from the Spanish word trabajo. Pumasok, to enter. Pumasok, to enter. For example, you went to a club and you have a friend who looks 18, actually, who looks younger than 18, like a high school student. So you can tell this friend, you are not allowed to enter the club if you're under 18 years old. Or in Filipino, bawal pumasok sa club ang mas bata sa 18 taong gulang. Maramdaman, to feel. So next verb is maramdaman, or to feel. For example, you really are irritated with a person, and you don't want the person to feel that you're irritated with him or her. So if you want to say in English, I don't want her to feel that I'm frustrated, then you would say, in Filipino, ayaw kong maramdaman niya ang inis ko sa kanya. But I think you have to approach her and tell her that you are frustrated. So go ahead and tell her. Subukan, to try. Subukan. This again, some like really inspiring example sentences that we have here. You want to say to your friend, because you want to be really encouraging, why don't you try it before you say that you can't? And assuming that this friend cannot understand English, then you would have to learn the Filipino. You would say, bakit di mo subukan bago mo sabihin na hindi mo kaya? Mag-iwan, to leave. Mag-iwan. It actually means to leave something. You want to say, in Filipino, mag-iwan ka ng 500 pesos or ng 500 piso para pambili ng pagkain. In English, please leave 500 pesos to buy food. Tumakbo, to run. Last verb for this lesson is tumakbo, or to run. So, for example, you are running and then you realize it's 200 meters already. So you would say, it's tiring to run more than 200 meters. And in Filipino, if you really want to say it, you would say, nakakapagod tumakbo ng higit sa 200 metro.
15 favorite words chosen by fans. Okay, the first word is bakasyon, which means vacation. I think I know why this one is a chosen word, because like everyone wants a vacation. Yes, everyone. Of course, since everyone wants a vacation, then most people would be asking this. Kailan ang susunod nating bakasyon? Kailan ang susunod nating bakasyon? This means, when is our next vacation? When is our next vacation? Don't know. Well, on your next vacation, go to the Philippines and you'll have a lot of fans. Balut. Balut. Our next favorite word chosen by is balut. I think it's also translated as balut because it's a type of food. Some people might not call it food, especially vegetarians and vegans. But balut is this, it's duck egg, which has an almost duck inside. Anyway, it's actually very nice. I don't really eat the duck. I give it to my mom. But the other parts aren't nice. Anyway, as an example, masarap ang balot. Masarap ang balot. This means balot is delicious. I think it is. But I don't think that's the only opinion about it. Okay, our next favorite word is kaibigan, meaning friend. Let me say something about this word, because you have to say it like this. Kaibigan. Kaibigan. Because kaibigan means friend. But when you twist it a bit and say it like this, kaibigan. Kaibigan. That's kind of, it's not really a natural way of saying it, but it actually means lover. So, like, when you tease your friends that, like, you think might be getting together, you say, like, are you sure you're kaibigan or kaibigan? And, there's a saying, quality over quantity. So, maybe for people who doesn't have much friends, you could use this sentence. Kakaunti lamang ang aking kaibigan. Kakaunti lamang ang aking kaibigan. This means I only have a few friends. So, yeah, it's not always about the quantity. Kumusta? How are you? Well, for Spanish people out there, you might recognize this a bit because it comes from the Spanish ¿Cómo estás? Because, long time ago, 300 years of Spanish colonizations will make your language have some Spanish things in them. Definitely remember this. And here's one point that you should know, but when Filipino people actually ask you kumusta, it's not just how English-speaking people would say, how are you? And then it's just like a greeting. When Filipino actually ask kumusta, they really want to know how you are. So people really answer back how they are. Another favorite word chosen by fans is kape, coffee. And, if you want to order coffee, you want to know how to say it so that you can order it every day. Because some people do not exist without coffee. Well, they are technically not yet alive without coffee in them. So remember this word, kape. For some people, this is not true. This is actually not true for me. But if it is true, you could use this sentence. Hindi ako mahilig sa kape. Hindi ako mahilig sa kape. This means, I don't like coffee. Please forgive me. It's just a sample sentence. Like, I do like coffee. Maganda, which means beautiful. Yeah, I like this word. I do like this. Why do I like this? Because it's nice. It's beautiful. Anyway, if someone called Maria and you think they're beautiful, you could use this sentence. Maganda si Maria. Maganda si Maria. Which means Maria is beautiful. Well, basically, you could just add any other name you want to put in there to mean that they are beautiful. And I think it'll make their day. Or you could just say maganda ka, which means you are beautiful. Yeah. Definitely make a habit of saying that to people. Okay, the next word is magmahal, to love. It also kind of means, well, not kind of, it also means sometimes to get expensive. So, make sure you're using the right context. Ang magmahal ay magsakripisyo. Ang magmahal ay magsakripisyo. Which means to love is to sacrifice. Okay, our next favorite word is malusog, which means healthy. Yeah, I guess you want this word to be true for you and your family. But it's also Filipino is such a difficult language. Everything has a double meaning. So when someone says you're malusog, it's either you're healthy or you're basically not thin, meaning you're like healthy and growing sideways. Anyway, context. But yeah, usually it means healthy. Like in this example, mag-ehersisyo ng sapat upang maging malusog. Mag-ehersisyo ng sapat upang maging malusog. Exercise enough to be healthy. So you see from this context that malusog is healthy and not growing sideways. Our next favorite word is maniwala, meaning to believe. Why do you think it's a favorite word? Maybe you could help me figure this out. You could put your comments in the comment section. Anyway, you might need this example sometime in your life when you want someone to believe in you. Maniwala ka sa akin. Maniwala ka sa akin. This means believe in me. Yes, please believe that I know Filipino. Please believe that I know Filipino. Because I'm Filipino. Masaya. Happy. It's nice to be happy, so this word is a lot of people's favorite word. And since a lot of people can be happy, a lot of people can also be cheesy. And they could say this to someone that they're happy to see. And it is, masaya akong makita kang muli. Masaya akong makita kang muli. This means I am happy to see you again. Well, I am happy to see you again here. And I hope you are happy to see me again here. So let's be happy together. Matulog, meaning to sleep. Earlier it seems like people like the word for coffee, which is kape, but I think a lot more people like this word better. Yeah, if you don't want to feel a zombie in the morning, this is always what is advised to me, and that is, matulog ka ng maaga. Matulog ka ng maaga. This means you should sleep early, which is technically impossible right now because it's like 1:30 in the morning and I have a lot of fans to work with. Here's our next favorite word. Pera. This means money. Can I borrow money? Guess not. I know this word is a favorite for a lot of people, but I think a lot of people also want to know what this sentence is in Filipino. Wala akong pera. Wala akong pera. Which means I have no money. So I cannot treat you anything. But if we have love, that's enough, I think. Respeto. Meaning respect. This is easy to remember, but it's not very easy to remember to have most of the time, I think. So, something you should remember, not just the word. So, as a sample sentences, I think this applies mostly to everyone. Lahat ay gusto ng respeto. Lahat ay gusto ng respeto. This means everyone wants respect. And I think everyone deserves respect. I mean, if they give respect in return, I don't know, it's that vicious cycle. Okay, our next favorite word is salamat, which means thank you. This is a very, very good word to remember and should be in your top favorite words. Salamat. It's easy to remember, but like most people do not remember how to reply to salamat in Filipino as well, which is walang anuman. You can always just say you're welcome. Okay, the next word is nahihilo, meaning dizzy. Wonder why people like this word, nahihilo. I mean, I myself do not like this word because I do not want to be dizzy. If someone invites you to go to the merry-go-round and you can't really hack it, you could say this sentence. Nahihilo ako sa merry-go-round. Nahihilo ako sa merry-go-round. This means I get dizzy riding the merry-go-round. If you're in the Philippines and you go to our favorite and only amusement park near Manila, you probably know what a flying fiesta is. And usually people are nahihilo in the flying fiesta.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
10 hardest words to pronounce. Okay, so just try and say these words, and I'm sure like your Filipino friends will be very impressed. Try practicing these words so you can pronounce it properly. Baba baba, going down. This first one is actually a sentence and it's just made of one syllable, which is ba. So it goes baba baba, it means going down. Baba means down, and bababa means going down, and the ba at the end is like our question marking particle. So baba baba, if you're going down and someone asks this to you, then you just reply with oo, meaning yes, or bababa. So, bababa, bababa. It's like the longest conversation in Filipino using one syllable.
Bulaklak, flower.
Okay, next is bulaklak, meaning flower. For example, mabango ang bulaklak. The flower smells good.
Dumadagundong, rumbling.
Dumadagundong, meaning rumbling. Doesn't it sound like it's a rumbling noise? Like, dumadagundong. It's like all the bass in that word. For example, dumadagundong na ang bagyo sa labas. The storm is already rumbling outside. Dumadagundong. Dumadagundong. Dumadagundong.
Di ka pani-paniwala, unbelievable.
Next is di ka pani-paniwala, meaning unbelievable. For example, di ka pani-paniwala ang sinapit ng pamilya niya. The plight of his family is unbelievable.
Kagilagilalas, astounding.
Next is kagilagilalas, which means astounding. Hindi na ako nakakakita ng kagilagilalas na pangyayari. I no longer see any astounding events.
Kinakailangan, important.
Next one is kinakailangan, meaning important. Kinakailangan laging maging tapat sa trabaho. We must always be honest at work.
Kumukuti-kutitap, twinkling.
Next one is kumukuti-kutitap, meaning twinkling. So I guess the hard part of this is like the vowels, because like it's mostly u, but there's like I and somewhere. Kumukuti-kutitap. I guess the only way to pronounce this is to remember all the syllables. Kumukuti-kutitap, twinkling. Ang between ay kumukuti-kutitap. The star is twinkling. How would you even sing like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Kumukuti-kutitap, kumukuti-kutitap. Try to say it very fast, like kumukuti-kutitap, kumukuti-kutitap, kumukuti-kutitap.
Mamasa-masa, moist.
The next is mamasa-masa, meaning moist. You have to be careful of the accents here because masa means moist, but there's another word spelled the same called masa, which means the masses. So masa and masa. So just be careful to say it as masa. Mamasa-masa. For example, mamasa-masa pa ang damo. The grass is still moist.
Misterioso, mysterious.
Next one is misterioso, meaning mysterious. I don't know, it sounds like it's easy enough to pronounce, like just mysterious becomes misterios with an O at the end. Like Spanish people could do it. Misterioso. For example, siya ay isang misteriosong babae, meaning she is a mysterious woman.
Patalastas, commercial.
Next one is patalastas, meaning commercial. This one, I actually had a problem saying this when I was a kid, and I just remember it being very hard for me, but yeah, now it's fine. For example, laging maraming patalastas ang laban ni Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's fights always have a lot of commercials. Cause yeah, those things like involve a lot of money, so they need a lot of commercials.
The 10 questions you should know in Filipino. So let's begin. Anong pangalan mo? What's your name? The first question that you should know is, anong pangalan mo? In English, what's your name? So, how do you answer this question? For instance, my name is Erica. So in Filipino, I would say, ako si Erica. Or, I'm Erica. This is a very useful question when you want to get to know other people. So you better remember this. Anong pangalan mo? In English, what's your name? Kamusta? How are you? The next question that you should know is, kamusta? Or in English, how are you? How do you respond to this question? You say, mabuti naman. Ikaw? Or, I'm good. You? So this is also again another very common question that you can ask your friends just because you're friends. So you have to know how they are. Parang lagi na lang magka-sarcastic yung... Actually, the longer version is kamusta ka? But no one really says that now. So you can just simply say kamusta. Yeah, or even shorter, you can just say musta. So it's very nice actually to say this to people, especially if you haven't seen them for a long time. Taga saan ka? Where are you from? So the next question that you should know is taga saan ka? Or in English, where are you from? So how do you answer this question? If you are, say, from Manila, then you reply, taga Maynila ako, or I'm from Manila. So say you are from Lisbon, then you'd say, taga Lisbon ako, or I'm from Lisbon. So this is also a very important question to know, especially if you're just meeting someone for the first time. So, I don't know, just people are very interested in where you go home. Or where you're from, not really where you go home. Kailan ang iyong kaarawan? When is your birthday? Kailan ang iyong kaarawan? In English, when is your birthday? So if you want to really respond to this question in fluent Filipino, then you would say, sa ika-25 ng Disyembre ang aking kaarawan. Or in English, this translates to my birthday is on December 25th. If it's December 25, then obviously your birthday is on Christmas. But if say August 9, then you would say in Filipino, ika-siyam ng Agosto. But no one really says that, so you just say August 9. Just say August 9. Ang kaarawan ko ay sa August 9. Or my birthday is on August 9. Saan ka nakatira? Where do you live? Saan ka nakatira? Or, where do you live? So, for example, you live in Makati City, which is the business district. So, you will say, nakatira ako sa Makati, or I live in Makati. Saan ka nagtatrabaho? Where do you work? The next question that you should know is, saan ka nagtatrabaho? Or, where do you work? So, for example, you want to say that you work at Intel. Or sometimes there's call center in Intel, right? So there are many call centers in the Philippines, and many younger Filipinos work in call centers. And so you can say, nagtatrabaho ako sa Intel, or I work at Intel. And then usually the follow-up question would be, what do you do at Intel? So then you would say, I'm a call center agent, or I'm IT person, or I'm the CEO of Intel. Oh, wow. Ano ang phone number mo? What's your phone number? The next question that you should know is, ano ang phone number mo? Oh, we're getting really in closer territories. So, for example, you really want to be friends with this person, or more than friends, then you ask, ano ang phone number mo? Or, what's your phone number? For instance, you want to give your phone number to this person, whoever this person is. Ang number ko ay, and then your number. For instance, 0123456789. In English, my number is this. So usually people would still ask for your phone number. But usually they would say, what's your cell phone number? Saan ka nag-aral ng Filipino? Where did you learn Filipino? Saan ka nag-aral ng Filipino? In English, where did you learn Filipino? So this is very interesting and very important to be able to respond to this. When the person that you're talking to is really amazed with your Filipino, so you better reply with, nag-aral ako gamit ang filipinopod101.com, or I studied with filipinopod101.com. So where did you learn Filipino? Mahilig ka ba sa pagkaing Pilipino? Do you like Filipino food? Mahilig ka ba sa pagkaing Pilipino? Or, do you like Filipino food? For instance, you really do. So, how do you respond to this question? You say, oo, lalong-lalo na ang adobo, if adobo is your favorite. Or it can be kare-kare. Then you would say, oo, lalong-lalo na ang kare-kare. In English, yes, especially kare-kare or adobo. This is very important question to know, because you usually get asked this question when you say go to gatherings or parties, or just when you're staying in a Filipino friend's house, right? their moms would usually ask you, oh, do you like Filipino food? What do you want to eat? And then they will most probably give you that food, serve you that food. They're very hospitable. Saan ang magandang pasyalan sa Pilipinas? Where is it nice to go to in the Philippines? The next question that you should know is, saan ang magandang pasyalan sa Pilipinas? In English, where is it nice to go to in the Philippines? If I'm going to give an advice now, I would say Palawan, definitely. And you would see, just type Palawan in Google, you would see really beautiful pictures. But if you want to be really specific, where exactly in Palawan, then either El Nido or Coron. So for instance, I would say sa Coron, Palawan. Or in English, in Coron, Palawan. It's very nice actually, very cheap. And very beautiful place. So I haven't been to Coron, I've been to El Nido. I've been to El Nido, not Coron, not yet.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Learning to carry a conversation is vital to mastery of any language. Even beginners can quickly learn conversational language well enough to carry on real conversations with native speakers. Of course, beginners won't be able to carry a conversation the same way they could in their native language. But just knowing a few tips, like which questions to ask to keep a conversation going, are all you need to speak and interact with real native speakers. Before we get to specific suggestions, let's first take a closer look at how having real conversations in your target language is so vital to your mastery of the language. Communicating with other people is the very point of language, and conversation comes easily in our native tongue. For beginners, or anyone learning a new language, conversations aren't easy at all, and even simple greetings can be intimidating and awkward. Nothing kills a conversation faster than long periods of awkward silence, so you need practice and specific strategies to avoid them. When you know what to say to keep a conversation going, communication becomes much easier, and you make a better impression on your listener. Nothing will help you learn to speak a language faster and truly master the language than having real conversations with native speakers. Conversations quickly expose you to slang, cultural expressions, and vocabulary that force you to absorb and assimilate information faster than any educational setting. And that's a great thing. But how can you possibly have real conversations with real people if you're just starting out? Here are 3 proven methods that even beginners can quickly use to learn conversational language to make a great impression and avoid awkward silences. First, ask questions to keep a conversation going. For beginners and even more advanced speakers, the key is to ask questions to keep a conversation going. Of course, they can't be just random questions, or else you may confuse the listener. But by memorizing a few key questions and the appropriate time to use them, you can easily carry a conversation with minimal vocabulary or experience. And remember, the more conversations you have, the quicker you will learn and master the language. Second, learn core vocabulary terms as quickly as possible. You don't need to memorize thousands of words to learn conversational language. In fact, with just a couple hundred words, you could have a very basic conversation. And by learning maybe 1,000 to 2,000 words, you could carry a conversation with a native speaker about current events, order in restaurants, and even get directions. To help you get started with this, check out our 2,000 common words, also known as our core list. These 2,000 words are all you need to learn to speak fluently and carry a conversation with a native speaker. Third, study video or audio lessons that you can play and replay again and again. If you want to know how to carry on a conversation, then you need exposure to native speakers, and the more, the better. Studying video or audio lessons is ideal because they provide contextualized learning in your native language, and you can play them again and again until you achieve mastery. Our instructors have created more than 2,500 video and audio lessons that you can play over and over. And the best part is, they don't just teach you vocabulary and grammar. They are designed to help you learn to speak and teach you practical everyday topics like shopping, ordering, and more. Although it may seem intimidating for a beginner, the truth is that it's very easy to learn conversational language. Just learn a few core vocabulary terms and which questions to ask to keep a conversation going. Our language learning program has the world's largest online collection of video and audio lessons by real instructors. Plus, tons of advanced tools to help you learn to speak and carry on a conversation quickly. Just a little practice and exposure to real conversations or lessons is all it really takes. So, if you're ready to finally learn a new language the fast, fun, and easy way, sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Signing up takes less than 30 seconds, and you'll start speaking from your very first lesson. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Hi guys! Hi guys! Welcome to Filipino Toppers with me Ice, and today's topic is 10 hardest words to pronounce. Okay, so just try and say these words, and I'm sure your Filipino friends will be very impressed. Try practicing these words so you can pronounce it properly. Baba, going down. This first one is actually a sentence, and it's just made of one syllable, which is ba. So it goes baba. It means going down. Baba means down, and bababa means going down, and the ba at the end is like our question marking particle. So baba. If you're going down and someone asks this to you, then you just reply with oo, meaning yes, or bababa. So bababa. It's like the longest conversation in Filipino using one syllable. Bulaklak, flower. Okay, next is bulaklak, meaning flower. For example, mabango ang bulaklak. The flower smells good. Dumadagundong, rumbling. Dumadagundong, meaning rumbling. Doesn't it sound like it's a rumbling noise? Like dumadagundong. It's like all the bass in that word. For example, dumadagundong na ang bagyo sa labas. The storm is already rumbling outside. Dumadagundong. Di ka panipaniwala. Unbelievable. Next is di ka panipaniwala, meaning unbelievable. For example, di ka panipaniwala ang sinapit ng pamilya niya. The plight of his family is unbelievable. Kagilagilalas. Astounding. Next is kagilagilalas, which means astounding. Hindi na ako nakakakita ng kagilagilalas na pangyayari. I no longer see any astounding events. Kinakailangan. Important. Next one is kinakailangan, meaning important. Kinakailangan laging maging tapat sa trabaho. We must always be honest at work. Kumukuti-kutitap, twinkling. Next one is kumukuti-kutitap, meaning twinkling. So I guess the hard part of this is like the vowels, because like it's mostly u, but there's like I and somewhere. Kumukuti-kutitap. I guess the only way to pronounce this is to remember all the syllables. Kumukuti-kutitap, twinkling. Ang between ay kumukuti-kutitap. The star is twinkling. How would you even sing like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Kumukuti-kutitap, kumukuti-kutitap. Try to say it very fast, like kumukuti-kutitap, kumukuti-kutitap, kumukuti-kutitap. Mamasa-masa, moist. The next is mamasa-masa, meaning moist. You have to be careful of the accents here because masa means moist, but there's another word spelled the same called masa, which means the masses. So masa and masa. So just be careful to say it as masa. Mamasa-masa. For example, mamasa-masa pa ang damo. The grass is still moist. Misterioso, mysterious. Next one is misterioso, meaning mysterious. I don't know, it sounds like it's easy enough to pronounce, like just mysterious becomes misterios with an O at the end. Like Spanish people could do it. Misterioso. For example, siya ay isang misteryosong babae, meaning she is a mysterious woman. Patalastas, commercial. Next one is patalastas, meaning commercial. This one, I actually had a problem saying this when I was a kid, and I just remember it being very hard for me, but yeah, now it's fine. For example, laging maraming patalastas ang laban ni Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's fights always have a lot of commercials. Cause yeah, those things like involve a lot of money, so they need a lot of commercials. Okay, and that's it for today. That was 10 hardest words to pronounce. Which do you think is the hardest one to pronounce for you? Like, just comment it down below. Do you have any word that you think is hard for me to pronounce? And I will accept your challenge. Or like, if you could think of any word that is hard to pronounce in Filipino, put it in the comment below. Maybe I'll try to say it for you in the next lessons. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, press the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to learn more Filipino, check out our site, filipinopod101.com. See you again next time. Thank you, salamat, and paalam.
May isang mag-asawa na tumitingin sa ilang mga floor plan. Anong apartment ang kanilang pupuntahan para tignan? Kung ito kaya, mayroon itong maganda at malawak na sala.
Gusto ko ng malawak na sala, pero gusto ko rin ng espasyo para sa parking.
Tignan natin. Kung ito kayang isa?
Oo, maganda yan. Puntahan ba natin to para tignan?
Teka lang, hindi ba masyadong maliit ang aparador?
Magandang punto. Mukhang walang perpekto. Teka, ito kayang isa?
Nandito ang lahat ng ating kailangan, hindi ba? At may kalakihan din ang aparador. Puntahan natin ito, tignan.
Okay.
Anong apartment ang kanilang pupuntahan para tignan? May isang mag-asawa na tumitingin sa ilang mga floor plan. Anong apartment ang kanilang pupuntahan para tignan? Kung ito kaya, mayroon itong maganda at malawak na sala.
Gusto ko ng malawak na sala, pero gusto ko rin ng espasyo para sa parking.
Tignan natin. Kung ito kayang isa?
Oo, maganda yan. Puntahan ba natin to para tignan?
Teka lang, hindi ba masyadong maliit ang aparador?
Magandang punto. Mukhang walang perpekto. Teka, ito kayang isa?
Nandito ang lahat ng ating kailangan, hindi ba? At may kalakihan din ang aparador. Puntahan natin ito, tignan.
Okay.
May isang lalaking gumagawa ng reserbasyon sa isang hotel. Saang kwarto siya mananatili? Seaside Hotel, ano pong maipaglilingkod ko?
Hi, gusto ko sanang manatili ng isang gabi sa ika-22 ng Setyembre.
Okay, sige po. Isang gabi sa ika-22 ng Setyembre. Ilang tao po?
2.
Ano po ang gusto niyo, sir? Smoking o non-smoking room?
Non-smoking.
Ang natatanging non-smoking room po na mayroon ng araw na iyon ay may mountain view. Ayos lang po ba yon?
Gusto ko sana ng may seaside view.
Pasensya na po, pero ang mayroon kaming may seaside view ng araw na yon ay smoking room lamang.
Meron bang non-smoking room na may seaside view sa ika-23 ng Setyembre?
Mayroon po.
Okay, sa ika-23 ng Setyembre kung ganon.
Saang kwarto siya mananatili? May isang lalaking gumagawa ng reserbasyon sa isang hotel. Saang kwarto siya mananatili? Seaside Hotel, ano pong maipaglilingkod ko?
Hi, gusto ko sanang manatili ng isang gabi sa ika-22 ng Setyembre.
Okay, sige po. Isang gabi sa ika-22 ng Setyembre. Ilang tao po?
2.
Ano po ang gusto niyo, sir? Smoking o non-smoking room?
Non-smoking.
Ang natatanging non-smoking room po na mayroon ng araw na iyon ay may mountain view. Ayos lang po ba yon?
Gusto ko sana ng may seaside view.
Pasensya na po, Pero ang mayroon kaming may seaside view ng araw na yon ay smoking room lamang.
Ah, meron bang non-smoking room na may seaside view sa ika-23 ng Setyembre?
Ah, mayroon po.
Okay, sa ika-23 ng Setyembre kung ganon.
May isang babae na nakikipag-usap sa kanyang hairstylist. Anong pagbabago ang gusto niyang gawin sa kanyang buhok?
Hi, ano pong maitutulong ko?
Hi, mayroon akong reserbasyon ng 3:00 para kay Richie.
Opo, Miss Richie. Dito po ang daan. Ano pong maipaglilingkod ko ngayong araw na ito?
Gusto ko sanang baguhin ng kaunti ang aking hairstyle.
Okay, anong haba po ang gusto ninyo?
Mga hanggang balikat,
Ayos po. At ang inyong bangs?
hindi ko babaguhin ang bangs.
Diretso o hati sa gilid?
Medyo sa gilid.
Aling gilid po?
Siguro medyo sa kaliwa mula sa gitna.
Nakuha ko po. Umpisahan natin sa shampoo. Dito po ang daan.
Anong pagbabago ang gusto niyang gawin sa kanyang buhok? May isang babae na nakikipag-usap sa kanyang hairstylist. Anong pagbabago ang gusto niyang gawin sa kanyang buhok?
Hi, ano pong maitutulong ko?
Hi, mayroon akong reserbasyon ng 3:00 para kay Richie.
Opo, Miss Richie. Dito po ang daan. Ano pong maipaglilingkod ko ngayong araw na ito?
Gusto ko sanang baguhin ng kaunti ang aking hairstyle.
Okay, anong haba po ang gusto ninyo?
Mga hanggang balikat,
Ayos po. At ang inyong bangs?
hindi ko babaguhin ang bangs.
Diretso o hati sa gilid?
Medyo sa gilid.
Aling gilid po?
Siguro medyo sa kaliwa mula sa gitna.
Nakuha ko po. Umpisahan natin sa shampoo. Dito po ang daan.
May isang lalaki at babaeng mag-aaral na tumitingin sa mga anunsyo ng trabaho. Sa aling trabaho mag-a-apply ang babaeng mag-aaral? Anong tingin mo sa trabahong ito? Ang bayad kada oras ay medyo mataas.
Sige, mukhang mainam ang bayad. Pero kaya mo ba talaga mag-deliver ng dyaryo?
Oo naman, magaling ako magbisikleta. Pero inaalala kong paggising ng maaga.
Ito kayang isa. Hindi mataas ang bayad, pero maari kang magtrabaho ng 2 o 3 araw sa isang linggo at mag-umpisang magtrabaho sa gabi.
Ito. Kahera sa supermarket ha. Sa bagay, mainam magtrabaho matapos ang klase.
Mukhang mainam rin itong sa coffee shop.
Oo nga. Gusto ko yung lugar na yan. At nasa daan yan papunta ng eskwelahan.
Hindi na masama, di ba?
Saan kaya ako dapat mag-apply?
Sa pagitan ng ano? Coffee shop at ang pag-deliver ng dyaryo?
Oo, maganda ang bayad sa pag-deliver ng dyaryo. Okay, nakapag-desisyon na ako. Siguro pipilitin ko na lang bumangon ng maaga. Sa aling trabaho mag-a-apply ang babaeng mag-aaral? May isang lalaki at babaeng mag-aaral na tumitingin sa mga anunsyo ng trabaho. Sa aling trabaho mag-a-apply ang babaeng mag-aaral? Anong tingin mo sa trabahong ito? Ang bayad kada oras ay medyo mataas.
Sige, mukhang mainam ang bayad. Pero kaya mo ba talaga mag-deliver ng dyaryo?
Oo naman, magaling ako magbisikleta. Pero inaalala kong paggising ng maaga.
Ito kayang isa. Hindi mataas ang bayad, pero maari kang magtrabaho ng 2 o 3 araw sa isang linggo at mag-umpisang magtrabaho sa gabi.
Ito. Kahera sa supermarket ha. Sa bagay, mainam magtrabaho matapos ang klase.
Mukhang mainam rin itong sa coffee shop.
Oo nga. Gusto ko yung lugar na yan. At nasa daan yan papunta ng eskwelahan.
Hindi na masama, di ba?
Saan kaya ako dapat mag-apply?
Sa pagitan ng ano? Coffee shop at ang pag-deliver ng dyaryo?
Oo, maganda ang bayad sa pag-deliver ng dyaryo. Okay, nakapag-desisyon na ako. Siguro pipilitin ko na lang bumangon ng maaga. May isang babae na nagsusukat ng damit at nakikipag-usap sa isang salesman. Aling damit ang bibilhin niya?
Bagay po sa inyo. At sakto ang sukat.
Oo, sukat nga. Pero karaniwan akong nagsusuot ng mga plain na kulay. Hindi ako sanay sa ganitong klase ng pattern.
Sa tingin ko po bagay sa inyo.
Talaga? Pero kakailanganin ko ng lakas ng loob para maisuot ito.
Ito po kayang damit na ito. Mas simple po ang disenyo kaya hindi ganon kagarbo ang dating.
Tama ka. Sige, susukatin ko yan.
Sige po. Ano po sa tingin ninyo, ma'am?
Mas bagay ito sa akin kaysa yung kanina. Mayroon ba kayong bersyon nito na may mahabang manggas na pareho ang disenyo?
Mayroon po.
Salamat. Sige, bibilhin ko yon. Aling damit ang bibilhin niya? May isang babae na nagsusukat ng damit at nakikipag-usap sa isang salesman. Aling damit ang bibilhin niya?
Bagay po sa inyo. At sakto ang sukat.
Oo, sukat nga. Pero karaniwan akong nagsusuot ng mga plain na kulay. Hindi ako sanay sa ganitong klase ng pattern.
Sa tingin ko po bagay sa inyo.
Talaga? Pero kakailanganin ko ng lakas ng loob para maisuot ito.
Ito po kayang damit na ito. Mas simple po ang disenyo kaya hindi ganon kagarbo ang dating.
Tama ka. Sige, susukatin ko yan.
Sige po. Ano po sa tingin ninyo, ma'am?
Mas bagay ito sa akin kaysa yung kanina. Mayroon ba kayong bersyon nito na may mahabang manggas na pareho ang disenyo?
Mayroon po.
Salamat. Sige, bibilhin ko yon. May isang presidente ng kumpanya na nakikipag-usap sa kanyang sekretarya sa telepono. Aling dokumento ang ipapadala ng sekretarya sa sales department?
Hi, pwede ba akong humingi ng pabor? May dokumento sa ibabaw ng aking mesa na gusto kong ipadala mo sa sales department.
Sigurado po. Anong dokumento iyon?
Sa pagkakatanda ko, yung nasa asul na sobre.
Asul na sobre... dalawa po itong asul na sobre na nasa mesa nyo.
Oo nga. May pulang selyo sa itaas ng kanan na bahagi ng sobre. Yung may berdeng selyo ay ang dokumentong pinamimigay natin sa recruiting orientation.
Yung may pulang selyo. Okay, nakuha ko po.
Mainam. Pakidala yan sa sales department ng alauna ng hapon at pakisiguradong maibibigay yan sa manager ng direkta. Kilala mo siya, di ba?
Opo, nakita at nakausap ko na po siya ng makailang beses na.
Magaling. At maaari mo bang ipadala yung isang sobre sa HR department?
Opo, sir. Aling dokumento ang ipapadala ng sekretarya sa sales department? May isang presidente ng kumpanya na nakikipag-usap sa kanyang sekretarya sa telepono. Aling dokumento ang ipapadala ng sekretarya sa sales department?
Hi, pwede ba akong humingi ng pabor? May dokumento sa ibabaw ng aking mesa na gusto kong ipadala mo sa sales department.
Sigurado po. Anong dokumento iyon?
Sa pagkakatanda ko, yung nasa asul na sobre.
Asul na sobre... dalawa po itong asul na sobre na nasa mesa nyo.
Oo nga. May pulang selyo sa itaas ng kanan na bahagi ng sobre. Yung may berdeng selyo ay ang dokumentong pinamimigay natin sa recruiting orientation.
Yung may pulang selyo. Okay, nakuha ko po.
Mainam. Pakidala yan sa sales department ng alauna ng hapon at pakisiguradong maibibigay yan sa manager ng direkta. Kilala mo siya, di ba?
Opo, nakita at nakausap ko na po siya ng makailang beses na.
Magaling. At maaari mo bang ipadala yung isang sobre sa HR department?
Opo, sir. May isang babae na tumatawag sa isang restaurant sa telepono. Sa aling mesa siya kumain ng tanghalian?
Hello, ano pong maitutulong ko?
Nagtanghalian ako dyan kanina at sa tingin ko, naiwan ko ang aking scarf.
Naiwan po ninyo ang inyong scarf sa mesa? Naaalala niyo po ba kung saan kayo nakaupo? Hahanapin ko po.
Nasa bandang likod ng restaurant ako nakaupo.
Nasa smoking area o non-smoking area po ba kayo?
Sa non-smoking area.
Sa counter po ba kayo pumwesto o sa mesa?
Nasa mesa ako para sa 4 na tao.
Sige po, titignan ko. Mangyari pong maghintay kayo ng sandali.
Salamat ng marami. Sa aling mesa siya kumain ng tanghalian? May isang babae na tumatawag sa isang restaurant sa telepono. Sa aling mesa siya kumain ng tanghalian?
Hello, ano pong maitutulong ko?
Nagtanghalian ako dyan kanina, at sa tingin ko, naiwan ko ang aking scarf.
Naiwan po ninyo ang inyong scarf sa mesa? Naaalala niyo po ba kung saan kayo nakaupo? Hahanapin ko po.
Nasa bandang likod ng restaurant ako nakaupo.
Nasa smoking area o non-smoking area po ba kayo?
Sa non-smoking area.
Sa counter po ba kayo pumwesto o sa mesa?
Nasa mesa ako para sa 4 na tao.
Sige po, titignan ko. Mangyari pong maghintay kayo ng sandali.
Salamat ng marami. May isang lalaking naghahanap ng apartment. Aling apartment ang kanyang pipiliin?
Mawalang galang lang, naghahanap ako ng apartment sa lugar na ito. Maari mo ba akong pakitaan ng ilang floor plan?
Sigurado ho yan. Para ho ba sa isang tao?
Hindi, kasama ko ang aking asawa. Gusto ko ng sala, silid tulugan at isang kwarto para sa study.
Okay. Heto po kaya. May 2 kwarto at sala. Ngunit baka may pagkamaingay dahil matatagpuan ito malapit sa isang malaking kalsada.
Ganoon pala. Karaniwan ako nagtatrabaho sa bahay kaya kailangan ko sana ng tahimik na lugar. At mas gusto ko sana yung parisukat ang hugis ng sala.
Kung heto po kaya, medyo may kalayuan mula sa istasyon. Ngunit ito ay nasa isang tahimik na residential area. May 2 kwarto at sala, ngunit medyo makipot ang isa sa mga kwarto.
Wala naman kaming masyadong kagamitan. Kaya siguro sapat na ito para sa amin.
May maipapakita pa kami sa inyong isa pang apartment na may 2 malawak na kwarto, ngunit mas malayo na ito sa istasyon.
Hindi, salamat na lang. Gusto kong makita yung ikalawang nabanggit mo sa akin.
Aling apartment ang kanyang pipiliin? May isang lalaking naghahanap ng apartment. Aling apartment ang kanyang pipiliin?
Mawalang galang lang, naghahanap ako ng apartment sa lugar na ito. Maari mo ba akong pakitaan ng ilang floor plan?
Sigurado ho yan. Para ho ba sa isang tao?
Hindi, kasama ko ang aking asawa. Gusto ko ng sala, silid tulugan at isang kwarto para sa study.
Okay. Heto po kaya. May 2 kwarto at sala. Ngunit baka may pagkamaingay dahil matatagpuan ito malapit sa isang malaking kalsada.
Ganoon pala. Karaniwan ako nagtatrabaho sa bahay kaya kailangan ko sana ng tahimik na lugar. At mas gusto ko sana yung parisukat ang hugis ng sala.
Kung heto po kaya, medyo may kalayuan mula sa istasyon. Ngunit ito ay nasa isang tahimik na residential area. May 2 kwarto at sala, ngunit medyo makipot ang isa sa mga kwarto.
Wala naman kaming masyadong kagamitan. Kaya siguro sapat na ito para sa amin.
May maipapakita pa kami sa inyong isa pang apartment na may 2 malawak na kwarto, ngunit mas malayo na ito sa istasyon.
Hindi, salamat na lang. Gusto kong makita yung ikalawang nabanggit mo sa akin.
May isang babaeng umuorder ng birthday cake. Aling cake ang kanyang o-orderin? Mawalang galang lang. Gusto ko sana umorder ng birthday cake para sa aking anak na babae.
Opo, pwede niyo po bang sabihin sa akin kung anong klase ng cake ang inyong hinahanap?
Mahilig sa tsokolate ang anak ko, kaya naisip ko na siguro magiging mainam kung chocolate cake. At pwede niyo bang lagyan ng strawberry?
Sigurado po, meron kaming bilog at parisukat na cake. Ano ang mas gusto niyo?
Bilog.
Okay, magiging ilang taon na po ang inyong anak?
Magiging 12 taong gulang na siya.
Okay, maghahanda po kami ng 12 kandila. Gusto po ba ninyong magpasulat ng mensahe?
Oo, sige. Pakisulat ang Happy Birthday.
Oo, sige po. At gusto po ba ninyong nakasulat yun sa pink? Kung ganun, ilalagay po namin sa puting plato. Kung hindi, isusulat namin sa puti at ilalagay sa pink na plato.
Pakisulat sa pink at pakilagay sa puting plato. Aling cake ang kanyang o-orderin? May isang babaeng umuorder ng birthday cake. Aling cake ang kanyang o-orderin? Mawalang galang lang. Gusto ko sana umorder ng birthday cake para sa aking anak na babae.
Opo, Pwede niyo po bang sabihin sa akin kung anong klase ng cake ang inyong hinahanap?
Mahilig sa tsokolate ang anak ko. Kaya naisip ko na siguro magiging mainam kung chocolate cake. At pwede niyo bang lagyan ng strawberry?
Sigurado po, meron kaming bilog at parisukat na cake. Ano ang mas gusto niyo?
Hmm, bilog.
Okay, magiging ilang taon na po ang inyong anak?
Magiging 12 taong gulang na siya.
Okay, maghahanda po kami ng 12 kandila. Gusto po ba ninyong magpasulat ng mensahe?
Oo, sige. Pakisulat ang Happy Birthday.
Oo, sige po. At gusto po ba ninyong nakasulat yun sa pink? Kung ganun, ilalagay po namin sa puting plato. Kung hindi, isusulat namin sa puti at ilalagay sa pink na plato.
Pakisulat sa pink at pakilagay sa puting plato. May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap tungkol sa schedule nila sa paglipat ng bahay. Kailan sila maglilipat? Sa palagay ko, dapat na tayong magdesisyon kung kailan ang araw ng paglipat at tumawag sa isang kumpanyang tagalipat.
Oo, kakatingin ko lang sa ilang kumpanyang tagalipat.
Ayoko magbayad ng masyadong malaking halaga.
Sang-ayon ako. Itong kumpanyang ito ay nagbibigay ng diskwento, gaya ng 10% diskwento kung magpapaschedule tayo isang buwan bago ang araw ng paglipat natin.
Isang buwan bago? Ibig sabihin, pagkatapos ng ika-15 ng Disyembre, tayo dapat lumipat para makakuha ng diskwento.
Oo, at may additional na diskwento kung ipapaschedule natin ang paglipat ng weekday.
Weekday? May meeting ako ng umaga ng Lunes at eksibisyon ng Martes at Miyerkules, kaya
Mainam ang Biyernes para maayos natin ang bagong bahay ng Sabado at Linggo.
oo. Teka, sabi nila, 15% ang diskwento mula Lunes hanggang Huwebes at 5% kung Biyernes.
Anong gusto mong gawin?
Mas mura sana, mas mainam. Tapos na ako sa eksibisyon sa panahong yun. Kailan sila maglilipat? May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap tungkol sa schedule nila sa paglipat ng bahay. Kailan sila maglilipat? Sa palagay ko, dapat na tayong magdesisyon kung kailan ang araw ng paglipat at tumawag sa isang kumpanyang tagalipat.
Oo, kakatingin ko lang sa ilang kumpanyang tagalipat.
Ayoko magbayad ng masyadong malaking halaga.
Sang-ayon ako. Itong kumpanyang ito ay nagbibigay ng diskwento, gaya ng 10% diskwento kung magpapaschedule tayo isang buwan bago ang araw ng paglipat natin.
Isang buwan bago? Ibig sabihin, pagkatapos ng ika-15 ng Disyembre, tayo dapat lumipat para makakuha ng diskwento.
Oo, at may additional na diskwento kung ipapaschedule natin ang paglipat ng weekday.
Weekday? May meeting ako ng umaga ng Lunes at eksibisyon ng Martes at Miyerkules, kaya
Mainam ang Biyernes para maayos natin ang bagong bahay ng Sabado at Linggo.
oo. Teka, sabi nila, 15% ang diskwento mula Lunes hanggang Huwebes at 5% kung Biyernes.
Anong gusto mong gawin?
Mas mura sana, mas mainam. Tapos na ako sa eksibisyon sa panahong yun.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
Hi guys, welcome to Filipino Top Words. I'm Ice and today's topic is 10 phrases you always want to hear. Ang ganda mo ngayon. You look great today. Okay, the first phrase is ang ganda mo ngayon. You look great today. This is kind of a double-edged sword because if you say you look great today, did they look not great yesterday? But still, it's nice to hear, I guess. Ganda mo ngayon. Makeup ka, no? Miss na kita. I miss you. Next phrase is, miss na kita. I miss you. If you're away and they say I miss you, then that's fine, I guess, because like, you're not together. But if someone says you and you've been hanging out like every day, that means something else. Like, you're there but not there kind of thing. So, see for yourself. So, if you want to say that I really miss you, then you just say, miss na kita. May bonus sa katapusan ng buwan. There'll be a bonus at the end of the month. Okay, the next phrase that you always want to hear is, may bonus sa katapusan ng buwan. There will be a bonus at the end of the month. Yeah, this one, you'd want to hear this. Especially if you're not good with the bills. Napakagaling mong magluto. You're an excellent cook. Napakagaling mong magluto. You're an excellent cook. If you know how to cook, unlike me, and you give your friends some of the things you cook, and they say this to you, then always want to hear that. Yeah. Magpahinga ka. Ako ang maglilinis ngayon. Take a break. I'll do the cleaning today. Magpahinga ka. Ako ang maglilinis ngayon. Take a break. I'll do the cleaning today. Oh, yeah. Guess if you hear this, that would be very great as well. I need help with the cleaning. Tama ka. You were right. Okay, another thing you might want to hear is tama ka. Or you were right. Yeah, I guess you want to hear this when you're in an argument. Dinalhan kita ng isang special na bagay. I brought you something special. Next one is, dinalhan kita ng isang special na bagay. That means, I brought you something special. I want something special. Unlimited ang budget. The budget is unlimited. Next phrase you would want to hear is, unlimited ang budget. Or, the budget is unlimited. Definitely. If you want bunch of equipment and they say to you, the budget is unlimited. Yeah! Ililibre kita. I'll treat you. Next one is, ililibre kita. Meaning, I'll treat you. Ah, so nice. Oh, many Filipinos love hearing this. So if you want to make Filipino friends, make sure to say this. Yeah. Ang bait mo. You're kind. Ang bait mo. Meaning, you're kind. Sometimes it's nice to know that your kindness is being appreciated. So if someone says this to you, then you'll feel happy, I guess. If you want to convey that they're very kind, just repeat the adjective. So it's gonna be, ang bait-bait mo. So that means you're very kind. Okay, and that's it for this topic. 10 phrases you always want to hear. And if you like this video, press the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel somewhere. To learn more Filipino, please go to filipinopod101.com. And I'll see you next time. Salamat, thank you, paalam.
May isang lalaking nag-uulat tungkol sa benta ng kanyang kumpanya sa isang meeting. Aling dalawang chart ang ginagamit niya para sa kanyang presentasyon?
Pakitignan ng handout. Ang chart sa kaliwa ay nagpapakita ng benta ng kumpanya sa loob ng 3 taon at ang forecast para sa kasalukuyang taon. Ang chart sa kanan naman ay nagpapakita ng breakdown ng buwan ng benta hanggang Oktubre ngayong taon. Ngayon, pakitignan ang chart sa kaliwa. Pinapakita nito ang patuloy na pagtaas ng benta sa loob ng nakaraang 3 taon. At kung patuloy nating patataasin ang benta, ang kabuuang benta para sa taong ito ay magpapakita ng dagdag na pagtaas kaysa sa benta ng nakaraang taon. Sunod, pakitignan ng chart sa kanan. Pinapakita nito na ang mga kampanyang isinagawa natin noong Abril at Agosto ay naging epektibo.
Sang-ayon ako. Ngunit bumaba ang benta noong Mayo at Setyembre matapos ang mga kampanya.
Oo, pero hindi maiiwasan ng ganitong pagsikad. Inaasahan ko na magpapakita ng lamang ang kabuoang benta para sa taong ito kumpara sa nakaraang taon kung patuloy nating mapapataas ang ating benta.
Aling dalawang chart ang ginagamit niya para sa kanyang presentasyon? May isang lalaking nag-uulat tungkol sa benta ng kanyang kumpanya sa isang meeting. Aling dalawang chart ang ginagamit niya para sa kanyang presentasyon?
Pakitignan ng handout. Ang chart sa kaliwa ay nagpapakita ng benta ng kumpanya sa loob ng 3 taon at ang forecast para sa kasalukuyang taon. Ang chart sa kanan naman ay nagpapakita ng breakdown ng buwan ng benta hanggang Oktubre ngayong taon. Ngayon, pakitignan ang chart sa kaliwa. Pinapakita nito ang patuloy na pagtaas ng benta sa loob ng nakaraang 3 taon. At kung patuloy nating patataasin ang benta, ang kabuuang benta para sa taong ito ay magpapakita ng dagdag na pagtaas kaysa sa benta ng nakaraang taon. Sunod, pakitignan ang chart sa kanan. Pinapakita nito na ang mga kampanyang isinagawa natin noong Abril at Agosto ay naging epektibo.
Sang-ayon ako. Ngunit bumaba ang benta noong Mayo at Setyembre matapos ang mga kampanya.
Oo, pero hindi maiiwasan ang ganitong pagsikat. Inaasahan ko na magpapakita ng lamang ang kabuoang benta para sa taong ito kumpara sa nakaraang taon kung patuloy nating mapapataas ang ating benta.
May isang lalaki na nagbabalak sumali sa isang sports club at kasalukuyang kumukuha ng impormasyon. Anong subscription ang kanyang pipiliin? Mag-umpisa tayo sa iba't ibang klaseng subscription ayon sa nakasulat dito sa brochure. Maaring gamitin ng mga regular na miyembro ang gym at pool sa kahit anong oras ng kahit anong araw. Pero nag-aalok din kami ng pang-umagang subscription kung saan pwedeng magamit lang ang mga pasilidad ng umaga at mayroon ding panggabing subscription para naman sa mga taong gusto lang pumunta ng gabi.
Anong mga oras para sa pang-umagang subscription?
Maaaring gamitin ng mga pang-umagang miyembro ang mga pasilidad mula alas 6 hanggang alas 10 ng umaga. Para naman sa mga panggabing miyembro, maaari nila itong gamitin mula alas 6 hanggang alas 11 ng gabi.
Naintindihan ko. Ibig sabihin, maaaring dumaan at gamitin ng mga pang-umagang miyembro ang mga pasilidad bago sila dumiretso sa trabaho.
Yun nga mismo. Ang pang-umagang subscription ay popular sa mga taong may trabaho mula alas 9 hanggang alas 5. Nag-aalok din kami ng subscription para lang sa gym o para lang sa pool kung isa lang sa mga iyon ang gusto mong gamitin.
Gusto kong gamitin ang parehong gym at pool. Sa palagay ko, gagamitin ko ang gym sa umaga bago dumiretso sa trabaho mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes at gagamitin ko ang pool tuwing Sabado at Linggo. Mayroon ba kayong subscription na para sa umaga lamang mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes at para sa buong araw ng Sabado at Linggo?
Pasensya na pero hindi kami nag-aalok ng ganong klaseng subscription, sir.
Okay. Sa tingin ko naman, hindi ko kayang bumangon ng ganoong kaaga tuwing Sabado at Linggo kaya itong pipiliin kong subscription.
Anong subscription ang kanyang pipiliin? May isang lalaki na nagbabalak sumali sa isang sports club at kasalukuyang kumukuha ng impormasyon. Anong subscription ang kanyang pipiliin? Mag-umpisa tayo sa iba't ibang klaseng subscription ayon sa nakasulat dito sa brochure. Maaring gamitin ng mga regular na miyembro ang gym at pool sa kahit anong oras ng kahit anong araw. Pero nag-aalok din kami ng pang-umagang subscription kung saan pwedeng magamit lang ang mga pasilidad ng umaga at mayroon ding panggabing subscription para naman sa mga taong gusto lang pumunta ng gabi.
Anong mga oras para sa pang-umagang subscription?
Maaaring gamitin ng mga pang-umagang miyembro ang mga pasilidad mula alas 6 hanggang alas 10 ng umaga. Para naman sa mga panggabing miyembro, maaari nila itong gamitin mula alas 6 hanggang alas 11 ng gabi.
Naintindihan ko. Ibig sabihin, maaaring dumaan at gamitin ng mga pang-umagang miyembro ang mga pasilidad bago sila dumiretso sa trabaho.
Yun nga mismo. Ang pang-umagang subscription ay popular sa mga taong may trabaho mula alas 9 hanggang alas 5. Nag-aalok din kami ng subscription para lang sa gym o para lang sa pool kung isa lang sa mga iyon ang gusto mong gamitin.
Gusto kong gamitin ang parehong gym at pool. Sa palagay ko, gagamitin ko ang gym sa umaga bago dumiretso sa trabaho mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes at gagamitin ko ang pool tuwing Sabado at Linggo. Mayroon ba kayong subscription na para sa umaga lamang mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes at para sa buong araw ng Sabado at Linggo?
Pasensya na pero hindi kami nag-aalok ng ganong klaseng subscription, sir.
Okay. Sa tingin ko naman, hindi ko kayang bumangon ng ganoong kaaga tuwing Sabado at Linggo kaya itong pipiliin kong subscription.
May isang babaeng nakikipag-usap sa isang lalaki mula sa isang outsource na imprentahan tungkol sa brochure para sa isang bagong produkto. Kailan ang huling araw para sa unang draft ng disenyo para sa brochure? Napagdesisyonan namin na ilunsad ang bagong produkto sa ika-15 ng Oktubre at gusto namin ialok sa iyo ang kontrata para sa paggawa ng brochure.
Maraming salamat. Kinagagalak naming matulungan kayo sa proyektong ito. Maaari niyo ba kaming bigyan ng karagdagang impormasyon tungkol sa schedule? Kailangan dapat nakahanda na ang lahat?
Kung isasaalang-alang natin ang panahon para sa pag-iimprenta, gusto sana namin na umpisahan ng pag-imprenta ng brochure ng Setyembre. Kakayanin niyo bang mapadalhan kami ng unang draft ng disenyo sa bandang kalagitnaan ng Agosto?
Ganito, gusto sana namin kayong padalhan ng 3 opsyon ng disenyo para sa unang draft at papiliin kayo ng isa sa nababagay sa inyong konsepto. Matapos, gagawin namin ang pinal na disenyo base sa napili ninyo. Kaya napakalaking tulong kung mabibigyan nyo kami ng 2 linggo para makapaghanda para sa hakbang na ito.
Okay. Siguro sapat na ang 1 buwan para makapili kami ng isa sa mga disenyong gagawin ninyo at makapagdesisyon. O sige, aasahan namin kayo.
Kayo ay nasa mabuting mga kamay. Ang grupo namin ang pinakamagaling. Maraming salamat.
Kailan ang huling araw para sa unang draft ng disenyo para sa brochure? May isang babaeng nakikipag-usap sa isang lalaki mula sa isang outsource na imprentahan tungkol sa brochure para sa isang bagong produkto. Kailan ang huling araw para sa unang draft ng disenyo para sa brochure? Napagdesisyonan namin na ilunsad ang bagong produkto sa ika-15 ng Oktubre at gusto namin ialok sa iyo ang kontrata para sa paggawa ng brochure.
Maraming salamat. Kinagagalak naming matulungan kayo sa proyektong ito. Maaari niyo ba kaming bigyan ng karagdagang impormasyon tungkol sa schedule? Kailangan dapat nakahanda na ang lahat?
Kung isasaalang-alang natin ang panahon para sa pag-iimprenta, gusto sana namin na umpisahan ng pag-imprenta ng brochure ng Setyembre. Kakayanin niyo bang mapadalhan kami ng unang draft ng disenyo sa bandang kalagitnaan ng Agosto?
Ganito, gusto sana namin kayong padalhan ng 3 opsyon ng disenyo para sa unang draft at papiliin kayo ng isa sa nababagay sa inyong konsepto. Matapos, gagawin namin ang pinal na disenyo base sa napili ninyo. Kaya napakalaking tulong kung mabibigyan nyo kami ng 2 linggo para makapaghanda para sa hakbang na ito.
Okay. Siguro sapat na ang 1 buwan para makapili kami ng isa sa mga disenyong gagawin ninyo at makapagdesisyon. O sige, aasahan namin kayo.
Kayo ay nasa mabuting mga kamay. Ang grupo namin ang pinakamagaling. Maraming salamat.
May isang babaeng tumatawag sa telepono para magpareserba ng mga tiket para sa isang dula. Aling 2 upuan ang kanyang nakuha?
Hello, ito ang Blackfriars Playhouse. Anong maipaglilingkod ko?
Gusto ko sanang bumili ng 2 tiket para sa King Lear ng alas 5:30 ngayong gabi. Mayroon pa bang upuang natitira?
Mayroon pang ilang upuan na natitira. Pero pasensya na at wala na kaming upuan na magkatabi. Kung ayos lang sa inyo, mabibigyan ko kayo ng 2 magkahiwalay na silya.
Okay, ayos lang sa amin.
Mayroon ba kayong mga particular na pangangailangan?
Mayroon ba kayong mga upuan sa pasilyo?
Oo, mayroon kaming upuan sa pasilyo sa kaliwa ng gitnang seksyon. At sa kanan noon, pagitan ng 3 upuan, may isa pa kaming libreng upuan.
Sa gilid? Okay, sige. Pakireserba ang upuang yun.
Agad din. Yung isa pa?
May iba pa ba kayong upuan na malapit sa gitna?
Ang mga natitirang upuan na lang sa gitnang seksyon ay ang mga nasa una hanggang 3 hilera.
Hindi ako sabik na matalsikan ng mga laway ng mga aktor, kaya...
Medyo may kalilitan ang kwartong ito. Kaya sa palagay ko, masisiyahan pa rin kayo kahit na nasa dulo kayo ng hilera sa gilid.
Talaga? Kung ganon, sige. Kukunin ko na ang upuan na nabanggit mo na nasa kaliwang banda. Aling 2 upuan ang kanyang nakuha? May isang babaeng tumatawag sa telepono para magpareserba ng mga tiket para sa isang dula. Aling 2 upuan ang kanyang nakuha?
Hello, ito ang Blackfriars Playhouse. Anong maipaglilingkod ko?
Gusto ko sanang bumili ng 2 tiket para sa King Lear ng alas 5:30 ngayong gabi. Mayroon pa bang upuang natitira?
Mayroon pang ilang upuan na natitira. Pero pasensya na at wala na kaming upuan na magkatabi. Kung ayos lang sa inyo, mabibigyan ko kayo ng 2 magkahiwalay na silya.
Okay, ayos lang sa amin.
Mayroon ba kayong mga particular na pangangailangan?
Mayroon ba kayong mga upuan sa pasilyo?
Oo, mayroon kaming upuan sa pasilyo sa kaliwa ng gitnang seksyon. At sa kanan noon, pagitan ng 3 upuan, may isa pa kaming libreng upuan.
Sa gilid? Okay, sige. Pakireserba ang upuang yun.
Agad din. Yung isa pa,
May iba pa ba kayong upuan na malapit sa gitna?
ang mga natitirang upuan na lang sa gitnang seksyon ay ang mga nasa una hanggang ikatlong hilera.
Hindi ako sabik na matalsikan ng mga laway ng mga aktor, kaya...
Medyo may kalilitan ang kwartong ito, kaya sa palagay ko, masisiyahan pa rin kayo kahit na nasa dulo kayo ng hilera sa gilid.
Talaga? Kung ganon, sige. Kukunin ko na ang upuan na nabanggit mo na nasa kaliwang banda. May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap tungkol sa mga paghahanda para sa isang presentasyon na gagawin nila bukas sa kanilang opisina. Ano ang iche-check ng babae pagkatapos ng kanilang pag-uusap?
Okay, sa palagay ko, halos tapos na natin ang paghahanda para sa presentasyon bukas. Kaunting mga bagay na lang. Ang meeting ay mag-uumpisa ng eksaktong 9:00, kaya maaari mo bang i-check ulit ang kwarto para sa meeting ngayon?
Oo, na-check ko na ang kwarto.
Okay, mainam. Sinigurado mo bang gumagana ng maayos ang projector?
Bala kong i-check ang projector bukas ng umaga pagdala ko ng laptop ko.
Hindi. Dapat natin yung ma-check ngayon. Wala tayong panahon para ayusin yung bukas ng umaga kung may problema. Kaya dapat natin siguraduhin na gumagana ng maayos ang projector ngayong araw na ito. Yun ang pinakamahalagang bagay. Okay?
Gagawin ko yun.
At nakapagpagawa ka na ba ng kopya ng mga handout?
Si Miss Tanaka ang gumagawa nun ngayon.
Tingnan natin. Ano pa ba? Na-check mo ba ang whiteboard?
Oo, na-check ko.
Minsan walang sapat na tinta ang mga pen. Na-check mo ba sila?
Hindi pa, pero gagawin ko yan maya-maya.
Oo. Pakisiguradong magagawa mo yan ngayong araw na to.
Ano ang iche-check ng babae pagkatapos ng kanilang pag-uusap? May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap tungkol sa mga paghahanda para sa isang presentasyon na gagawin nila bukas sa kanilang opisina. Ano ang iche-check ng babae pagkatapos ng kanilang pag-uusap?
Okay. Sa palagay ko, halos tapos na natin ang paghahanda para sa presentasyon bukas. Kaunting mga bagay na lang. Ang meeting ay mag-uumpisa ng eksaktong 9:00, kaya maaari mo bang i-check ulit ang kwarto para sa meeting ngayon?
Oo, na-check ko na ang kwarto.
Okay, mainam. Sinigurado mo bang gumagana ng maayos ang projector?
Bala kong i-check ang projector bukas ng umaga pagdala ko ng laptop ko.
Hindi. Dapat natin yung ma-check ngayon. Wala tayong panahon para ayusin yung bukas ng umaga kung may problema. Kaya dapat natin siguraduhin na gumagana ng maayos ang projector ngayong araw na to. Yun ang pinakamahalagang bagay. Okay?
Gagawin ko yun.
At nakapagpagawa ka na ba ng kopya ng mga handout?
Si Miss Tanaka ang gumagawa nun ngayon.
Tingnan natin. Ano pa ba? Na-check mo ba ang whiteboard?
Oo, na-check ko.
Minsan walang sapat na tinta ang mga pen. Na-check mo ba sila?
Hindi pa, pero gagawin ko yan maya-maya.
Oo. Pakisiguradong magagawa mo yan ngayong araw na to.
May isang lalaki at babae na namimili ng hotel. Aling hotel ang kanilang pipiliin? Kailangan natin magdesisyon tungkol sa ating hotel para sa biyahe natin sa susunod na buwan.
Okay, i-check natin sa internet.
Malapit ang Ocean Hotel sa Dalampasigan. $120 daw kada gabi kada tao. At may kasama ng buffet breakfast.
Yung Pine Hotel kaya, $80 kada gabi. Ayokong magsayang ng masyadong malaking pera para sa accommodation.
Pero ang Pine Hotel ay malayo mula sa Dalampasigan at mula sa downtown. At sabi rito, kailangan raw magbayad para sa wifi.
Ito kayang Sunrise Hotel. Sa karaniwan, ang singil nila ay $140 kada gabi. Pero ngayong may promosyon sila, $70 na lang kada gabi. Nasa gitna ito ng Dalampasigan at ng downtown. At saka, mayroon din itong free wifi.
Mukhang maganda. Teka. Sabi dito na para sa susunod na linggo na daw ang promosyon.
Hindi ko yun nakita.
Paano kaya kung itong Royal Hotel? Nasa gitna ng downtown at $100 kada gabi. Hindi ganoon kaganda ang kwarto pero walang bayad ang wifi.
Okay, ipareserba na natin yan. Puno na.
Naku, kung ganoon, sa palagay ko pinakamainam ang una nating nakita. Puno na kaya?
Hindi pa. Buti na lang.
Aling hotel ang kanilang pipiliin? May isang lalaki at babae na namimili ng hotel. Aling hotel ang kanilang pipiliin? Kailangan natin magdesisyon tungkol sa ating hotel para sa biyahe natin sa susunod na buwan.
Okay, i-check natin sa internet.
Malapit ang Ocean Hotel sa Dalampasigan. $120 daw kada gabi kada tao. At may kasama ng buffet breakfast.
Yung Pine Hotel kaya, $80 kada gabi. Ayokong magsayang ng masyadong malaking pera para sa accommodation.
Pero ang Pine Hotel ay malayo mula sa Dalampasigan at mula sa downtown. At sabi rito, kailangan raw magbayad para sa wifi.
Ito kayang Sunrise Hotel. Sa karaniwan, ang singil nila ay $140 kada gabi. Pero ngayong may promosyon sila, $70 na lang kada gabi. Nasa gitna ito ng Dalampasigan at ng downtown. At saka, mayroon din itong free wifi.
Mukhang maganda. Teka. Sabi dito na para sa susunod na linggo na daw ang promosyon.
Hindi ko yun nakita.
Paano kaya kung itong Royal Hotel? Nasa gitna ng downtown at $100 kada gabi. Hindi ganoon kaganda ang kwarto pero walang bayad ang wifi.
Okay, ipareserve na natin yan. Puno na.
Naku, kung ganoon, sa palagay ko pinakamainam ang una nating nakita. Puno na kaya?
Hindi pa. Buti na lang.
May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap tungkol sa layout ng kwarto para sa meeting. Paano nila aayusin ang mga mesa?
Ayusin natin ang mga mesa para sa meeting bukas.
Sige, dapat ba nating ilagay ang mga mesa sa gitna ng kwarto para nakaupo ang lahat sa paligid at nakaharap sa isa't isa?
Hindi. May group session muna, kaya hatiin natin ang mga mesa sa 4 na seksyon. 4 na taong uupo sa bawat grupo.
Okay, at maglalagay ako ng memo pad at pen sa bawat mesa.
Salamat, at magkakaroon din tayo ng maikling eksplanasyon gamit ang projector bago mag-umpisa ang session, kaya kailangan natin ng projector dito.
O sige, at gagamit tayo ng whiteboard hindi ba? Ayos lang ba kung ilagay ko ang whiteboard sa tabi ng screen?
Kung ilagay kaya natin ang whiteboard sa kabilang gilid ng screen, ilagay natin ito sa likod ng kwarto?
Oo nga.
At huwag mong kalimutan na dalhin ang lahat ng mga gamit matapos ang meeting. Magdikit ka ng 2 mesa at iayos mo sa 4 na hilera.
Paano nila aayusin ang mga mesa? May isang lalaki at babae na nag-uusap tungkol sa layout ng kwarto para sa meeting. Paano nila aayusin ang mga mesa?
Ayusin natin ang mga mesa para sa meeting bukas.
Sige, dapat ba nating ilagay ang mga mesa sa gitna ng kwarto para nakaupo ang lahat sa paligid at nakaharap sa isa't isa?
Hindi. May group session muna, kaya hatiin natin ang mga mesa sa 4 na seksyon. 4 na taong uupo sa bawat grupo.
Okay, at maglalagay ako ng memo pad at pen sa bawat mesa.
Salamat, at magkakaroon din tayo ng maikling eksplanasyon gamit ang projector bago mag-umpisa ang session, kaya kailangan natin ng projector dito.
O sige, at gagamit tayo ng whiteboard hindi ba? Ayos lang ba kung ilagay ko ang whiteboard sa tabi ng screen?
Kung ilagay kaya natin ang whiteboard sa kabilang gilid ng screen, ilagay natin ito sa likod ng kwarto?
Oo nga.
At huwag mong kalimutan na dalhin ang lahat ng mga gamit matapos ang meeting. Magdikit ka ng 2 mesa at iayos mo sa 4 na hilera.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.